long way. You just press some keyboard shortcut. So if you know you do a lot of computing exercises, it's very important that you know at least a few shortcuts, something to lock your screen. You can press um alt and letter L, or something to take a screenshot. You can press Windows and print screen, something to set up your, maybe you want to project your system. You can always use the shortcut on your laptop. On mine it's F8, on yours it might be different. You can just familiarize yourself with the different shortcuts on your keyboard and use it to make work easier and faster. At the end of the day, time is money. So there are some key buttons on our keyboard that do multiple or special functions, such as our FM key. So usually you just press it, it's called the function key, and press another anything. Maybe you're seeing brightness or all of this, and you press it, hold it down, and press the other button, and it's going to carry out the functionality that you're trying to get. So usually you some people find it difficult, maybe their hands their hands are big, but I don't see how big your hands can be to the extent that you're finding it difficult to use the keyboard. But at the end of the day, we're all about inclusivity. So some people might find it restricting. Maybe you can get an external extension of a keyboard that is bigger, that fits what you want. So you shouldn't, just because your laptop comes with a type of keyboard, you're not that's not your fate. You can always get an external keyboard that you can use to operate your laptop if you're not comfortable with the one that comes with your laptop. So we have pointing devices as well. So they work hand in hand with the keyboard. You want to move around, you want to tap this, you want to do that, you want to do anything. So um they are built in our laptops to make it easy to move around and carry different things. So we have different types of pointing devices. We have the trackball, we have the touchpad, we have the point stick, we have the touch screen. There are other ones like mouse as well. I don't think it's captured here, but the trackpad looks like a mouse anyway. The trackball looks like a mouse, but it's not exactly a mouse. So that one is more of an old school kind of pointing device. It's just round. We have a picture here. This diagram here, the A diagram, is a picture of a trackball. It still performs the exact same functionalities of a touchpad. So you just use it to navigate around your laptop. So when you see this this cursor moving all around the system, is definitely linked to the functionality of the trackball or the touchpad or whatever functionality you're using within your system. So if you are having difficulties navigating around your laptop, maybe it's slow, it's delaying, just know that there's probably something wrong with your touchpad or your mouse, and you should go and get it checked. So trackball, early laptops used trackball. So but over time there's been a lot of improvement in terms of, the trackball had some limitations because it's not very durable, and sometimes when you are pressing it, it can easily, because it's round like a ball, it can easily slide and go and touch something that's not what you intended for. So there's been upgrades over the years. Now we have a touchpad, just like the picture we see here. This aspect of our laptop where we have a square, or is this a rectangle, it's a touchpad. So it's very touch sensitive. So you want to make sure maybe water does not get there, because once there's water there, it might even just be working on its own. It's very touch sensitive. So if you don't have any business there, you shouldn't just lean on it or put your hand there. It can even go ahead and go and delete something that you do not intend to. So all you need to do is touch it and drag around and navigate to wherever you want to navigate to within your system. So if you have been seeing this thing on your laptop, you don't even know the name. You say this thing, waiting they call themselves. It's actually a touchpad. So it has a right click and left click function that you can use to extend. Like let's say you want to delete, you want to do this, just like if I highlight this, if I want to copy it and I don't know shortcut such as control, Control C, I'll just come here, then I would right click and I'll see other features relating to that thing I want to do. If I want to copy, I click copy. If I want to cut, I'll click cut. All of those things are the functionalities of our touchpad. So most other systems, other OS might have just two clicks. Me, I don't even know the reason why there's a left click option. Doesn't if I highlight it now and click it doesn't do anything. They should have just made it one button. I think that's why the Mac people decided to use only one button. I don't think you need more than one buttons anyway. So we have point tick. So there's this. I don't know if you've noticed. Let me go to the next slide. This where is it? This C diagram. I don't know if you've noticed. Have you ever noticed this thing on your laptop? How many of us have this thing on our laptop? Do you have it?
Yes, ma. It usually, yes, ma. It usually. Hello, ma.
Put it there because I'm wondering it's very, very inefficient and actually I don't want to
Yes, we have it on our system.
say useless. I don't know. No. So like I said earlier, vendors types
We seem to have lost her again. Okay, please kindly be patient while we get her back on call. Thank you so much.
hello. I'm just I think hello, can we all hear me now? I think it has tripped off again.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. So I'll just reshare my screen. I think anytime I hear this meeting is being recorded, I should just know that you guys are no longer hearing me, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, this touch screen is usually a follow come, comes with the features of that laptop. If it wasn't there before, it's not something you can add, unlike a mouse or a touch, the what they call it now. Is it the touch ball? Yes, the trackball. All of those things, you can even get them, even if they don't come with your system, you can add it as a functionality to your system. But when it comes to touchscreen, if it's not a follow come functionality, we will not be able to have it. So can we map, we have A, B, C, D here. Can we map it to the name? So we have A. What does A mean? What does B mean? What does C mean? And what does D mean? Please let me see you in the chat box. Let's see who has been following. Can we map it to their names? The diagrams we have on the screen. A Saulawa said Lenovo systems do come with it. I'm sure it means the but I used the Lenovo system that didn't have it anyways. So are we, can we see my screen? So I'm not seeing any response in the chat box.
Yes, we can see your screen, Patience.
What does A mean? What does B mean? Or is it that we don't know? We weren't following? Or was it the time my network tripped off?
So most
So
people lost you when your network went off.
oh, okay, okay. So let's go back a bit. Let's backtrack a bit. So we have pointing devices, trackball, like I mentioned earlier, it's old school and it's not very efficient, so it has been phased out. I'm sure most of us here have never seen a trackball in our lives. Personally, I've never seen one, right? So trackballs, old school, but they still serve as pointing devices that you can use to navigate your laptop or your mobile device. Then we have the touchpad, it comes with your laptop as well. You use it to navigate. That's one of the most common ones that we can see now. Most, there's no laptop, there's hardly any laptop that will come without a touchpad, except maybe it's a full what do you call it now? It's a full touch screen laptop. Right? I use to extend maybe when you want to do more things as relate with that feature that you just click on. So I already heard this meeting is being recorded, so I know they've already tricked me. So let me just reshare my screen. So can we all see my screen? All right.
Yes,
So
we
I
can
think you
see
can
your
see.
screen.
Yes, thank you. All right, so let's. Oh, thank you. Abiodun said A trackball. Emmanuel said A trackball, B touchpad, D touch screen. I think the one he missed was point stick. All right, thank you very much for participating. So let's see key differences between a server and a workstation. So for this part of the material, we've talked about servers, we've talked about workstations, we've talked about laptops, we've talked about parts, some parts, just some parts of the laptop. Last week during the training last week, you also talked about some core parts of the system as well. So a combination of what you learned last week and this week, that's what at the end of the day, towards the end of the class, by the time you're done with this training, I'm sure you'd understand all the parts of the computer system. So let's see key differences between a server and a workstation. So what are the basic differences? So server is used to perform services for connected clients. The server in itself is not a client. It doesn't make requests per se, but sometimes a server can request to connected devices that can you give me this? Can you send this to me? But most times the connected clients are the one sending requests to the server to help them get this or make this available. While a workstation is the one always making, requests, and you can use it to perform dedicated tasks, and it has enhanced features. Like servers might not have a screen, it might not have, that graphical user interface, not very, you cannot really touch or it has enhanced feature that you can see a lot of things that relates to the workstation from front because it has a screen and all of that. So what's the function? A server can be used for internet, office, education, enterprises, workstation, mostly used maybe for personal use, businesses, design, engineering, and media production. So what are some OS operating systems that you can install because the servers do not work on their own. They have operating systems as well that coordinate what happens within the server. So you can use FreeBSD operating system, Solaris, Linux, Windows Server, workstations as well. You have Unix, Linux, Windows workstation operating systems. All of these operating systems have their advantages and disadvantages. So you have to look and investigate before you choose the one that you want to go with. So what are their applications? You have hosting service and intranet. For workstations, it's professional productivity. It's usually a person that is using it to achieve one or two things, right? Then graphical user interface for a server is optional. So usually a server will not have a display aspect or anything like that. But when it comes to a workstation, they even have solid GUIs, graphical user interface, even as compared to laptops. That's why most times people that do design and all of that would rather use a workstation or a solid PC than laptops. So example of servers, you have the FTP server, that's your file server, the web server, application server, and then workstations, you have your video and audio workstation, you have your gaming workstations as well, and all of that. So those are some, I'm sure by just looking at these differences, you're already getting the idea of what a server is and what a workstation is. So now that understand the differences between the server and the workstation. Let's look at the differences between the server and the laptop. Then we look at the differences between the laptop and the workstation. So for servers, they use Xeon or Itanium processor in when it comes to the PC, you just use one single desktop processor. That's why you can never compare the speed 50 people requesting different things. But the type of processors that servers use are very solid and very fast. And you can even use more than one. But when it comes to laptops, you can just use one. So you just need to make sure the one you're using is actually fast enough. So for servers as well, you can use multiple hard disks. That means you have a wide range of the storage is wider than that of PC. You can only use one hard disk. Like a server now, you can have many terabytes of hard disk. But when it comes to PC, even if you want to have, you can just have one. So it has higher memory capacity. The PCs have lower memory capacity because the intent for the creation of the laptop is to do day-to-day activities, send email, chat on WhatsApp, do social media, um, do Word documents, Excel documents. So they didn't expect you to want to use it to serve other people. So if you want to do that, you should get a server or something or a workstation with the capacity of a server. So for server, network capability is better. For PC, it's just the normal network capability. For server, it can serve more than 1,000 users. Depending on your capacity, you can even do more. So just imagine the type of servers people like Google, AWS, Microsoft, just imagine the servers they use. So there's no limit to the number of users the server that can attend to as long as you increase its capacity. But a PC, a laptop is limited, it's built for an individual user. You cannot make it do more than if you do pass himself, you get. So servers are more advanced and complex. So it's not just anybody. Just like how you can pick up your laptop and be moving from here to here. There's a graphical user interface that is easy to navigate, it's user friendly. But when it comes to server, you have to be an expert, you have to be a professional to move around before you can press control spot and delete all our data, right? So it's very important that you know what you're doing before you go and touch anything inside the server. Nobody's even going to allow you enter their server room if you're not certified to. It's usually a very high security place within any organization. All right, so let's look at the differences between the desktop and laptop. So in this case, what we're calling desktop is the workstation and the laptop. So you can use them interchangeably, so you don't get confused. So usually the desktop is usually larger. You know, usually you enter offices, all those type you used to see in front of receptionists with big CPU just next to it, and then the keyboard is somewhere. Just know that's a desktop. But don't go and underrate that desktop looking the way it's looking. It has higher capacity than the laptop. Is size is smaller, but due to the current, in inventions and progress that they've made in terms of inventions, there are some really sleek laptops that are actually very strong and very that will do actual computing, high computing activities. But then at the end of the day, they're going to be quite expensive, and maybe we need some maintenance here and there. For desktop, it is also known as a personal computer PC. For laptop, it's also known as notebook. If you are calling desktop notebook, you just know that you don't fall your hand, because a desktop cannot be a notebook because you cannot open and close it. It is less portable and reliable. Reliable in the sense that if it's not connected to a power source, it can go off. Maybe you can have a temporary, what do they call it now, that can give you temporary power. Is it what's the name? I can't really remember the name of that power that sounds like almost like a power bank for desktops, but that one is also limited as well. So somebody should give me the name of that this thing they use. What's the name of that thing they use when you go to UPS? Right? Yes, UPS. So it is less portable and reliable. So UPS are limited in terms of it's just a short term what do they call it now? Short term solution. Yes, it's a short-term solution. But laptops are portable and reliable, and they're reliable in the sense that you can easily plug it in anywhere. You can move it, even if there's no light here, you can just put it in your bag, go somewhere else, and continue doing what you're doing. It is easy to customize and change parts easily. Your desktop, if you notice that if maybe your RAM is too low, or your this motherboard has some issues and you just want to make some changes, you can easily just use your screwdriver, open the CPU, change this, change that, and you have your beautiful laptop back to life. But when it comes to laptop, if you go and open it, they can, even when you get to the repair space, they'll be like, why did you open it? Can you? So at the end of the day, it's not easy to customize or change. So that means desktops are more cost effective. So instead of changing, because you need additional functionalities, instead of changing the whole laptop, you can just easily buy the exact thing you need. Do you need a new RAM? Do you need this? Do you need a new hard disk? Do you need that? So at the end of the day, once you change them, you spend less money. But when it comes to a laptop, it's difficult to customize and replace its parts. Desktop processors are powerful than laptops, obviously. So if you do high level computing, you should tilt more towards a desktop. So you can still have a laptop for moving around, but when you want to do your actual work, you want to make sure you have something that is. So if you notice, you see a lot of tech guys usually have something, another screen that they use, and maybe another, you see their CPU there. So usually that one is like a workstation, and they use it hand in hand with their laptop. So laptop processors are less powerful than desktop due to the size. High computing takes a lot of time and a lot of resources. So you don't want to waste all your time there from morning to night and you've not achieved anything. So if desktop is almost all parts can be changed. The CPU can be functioning properly and the screen has issues. All what you need to do is change the screen, the part that has the screen, buy a new one, but your CPU is still functional, your keyboard is still functional. So it's very easy to upgrade. Like I mentioned earlier, laptop, only the hard drive and memory can be replaced or upgrade. So there's a limitation in terms of its upgrade and changing its part. For desktop, number of ports are more than laptop. That one is not really a problem because you can always use the dock station that we saw earlier to extend the number of ports on your devices. For desktop, runs mainly on main power supply. There's hardly, or maybe UPS. But unlike laptop, it has that battery power. That's one of the things that laptop used to pass desktop. It will last longer than a desktop. It has wide range of screen sizes, so you can choose different sizes for your display, you know. But when it comes to laptop, what you bought, you cannot change it. Cannot, except you want to change the whole system. And when it comes to laptop, when the screen is too big, safe, nobody's going to buy it because everybody's looking for something sleek. So they will even limit the number of those they produce that have big screens. So let's go to the next aspect of our training material, exploring handheld and mobile devices. So let's quickly do some a quick just a small interactive thing. Oh, somebody say UPS is now being replaced with inverter. Okay, that makes sense, but you know, it's not really cost effective because how many people can afford an inverter? How much are they even paying you? Tech bro, but how much are they paying you? Most people cannot even afford inverter, right? I'm sure there are cheaper options now. You know, just like in Nigeria, that there's sachet everything. It seems they'll soon start doing sachet power supply because they bring it because the purchasing power keeps going down. So they keep creating smaller, affordable packages, right? All right. So let's quickly do a small interactive stuff. If I were to say, okay, I want to give 3 people a mobile device, which one will you be picking? Do you want a server? Do you want a workstation? Do you want a laptop? And why will you go for it? So let's quickly do it. 5 minutes, 5 minutes for that. Who knows? Somebody might be watching. And who knows? I might even give somebody one, right? So let's see. Server, workstation, or laptop. Which one would you choose and why? So I'll give us 5 minutes to come up with that. Me, let me not even be the only one asking in case you want to give me two. Please, I would like next thing. Let me type it safe. The person come back and read the chat. Let me type my own answer. Is anybody typing? Is anybody typing? I'm waiting for responses. Somebody said web server because of bulk work. Okay, that makes sense. So if our destiny helper is on this call, please, Inamdi needs a web server. Laptop because of portability. That makes sense. That makes sense. So I'm thinking you probably don't have one yet. So you probably need another one. Mm-hmm. We're having a lot of requests for laptop. Edit, please take down their names. Oh, in case somebody comes back and say, I want to give some people some laptops. It's first come, first serve, Abby. Somebody said workstation because it's easy to manage. Well, it's easy to scale. If you want to change this, you want to change that, it's easy to maintain. Laptop is smarter and slim. That makes sense. So I'm sure Mr. Good Tidings will probably like a MacBook. You know, that's one of their selling points. That is usually sleek and slim. Please, you should not give him a Dell because those ones nice can be quite big. So laptop server because of its multiple options. Workstation are for video or audio. Okay, that's not the only functionality of a workstation anyways, but that makes sense. The laptop because I can work anywhere. Laptop, workstation because it allows me to perform multiple tasks. All right, thank you for everyone that's participated. Let's let's close our eyes and pray. I want to pray for all of us that need laptop. God, you have seen our heart desires. Please send us laptop. If you do not drop it here, you know this prayer did not cover you. All right, in case, let's quickly add it here. Okay, so that this prayer, you know, God used to answer my prayer very well. God, send us destiny helpers that will give us laptops with good, you know, processing speed and good functionalities. All right. Oh, this person said, for content creation, don't worry, very soon you'll get a new laptop. All right, so let's go to the other part, exploring handheld devices and mobile devices. So because Gen Z now, the when you have big thing, they'll just be like, oh my, this person no sabi anything. They want it small and effective. So there was like in the demand for something small kept on increasing. So they had to, develop something that will work. So that's when our smartphones, our tablets, our notepads, all of those things came into the picture. So before, back in the day, what used to reign is flip phones or BlackBerry or this. Even just before BlackBerry came, we had phones that couldn't even connect to the internet. So if not even Gen Z now, let's say millennials, because Gen Z, I'm not sure they have ever seen flip phone with their two eyes. Maybe they've only seen it in a movie or they've seen it in picture. Are you people sure if I've ever seen flip phone? I'm just joking, anyways. All right, so there was a need for smaller handheld computing devices. So we have different options. You have your notepad, you have your smartphone, you have your tablets. There are different smaller, phones that you can use. You have your touchlight phone. Nobody should say touchlight phone is not a mobile device. Now, why they know they help person with this? When the mobile phone was saving our lives, everybody was rating it. Now, because they've seen touch screen and everything, nobody's even talking about touchlight phone that saved our life back in the day. All of those are types of mobile devices. And on those mobile devices, we have different OS on them. We have Apple OS, we have Android. Most times, me, I tilt towards Android. Some people say it's because I don't have money, but I agree. Apple is also great, but I probably prefer Android. So there are different operating systems on these our mobile devices. So what are the things that mobile devices have in common? They are not field serviceable. Input methods are different. Memory and storage are handled differently. This as opposed to our laptops, workstations, and of all those other things. So for mobile devices, you might not be able to change, just like your workstation that you can change your RAM, do that one. Now they're even making it in a way that if your mobile device spoil, you cannot even repair it. The only option you probably have to go and buy a new one. Now they've done in before we can easily change it, but now they've even made it more difficult for people to, service their mobile devices. Maybe they think they want to, maybe it's a marketing strategy. We do not know. So input methods are also different. Some use buttons, some use touch screens. Back in the BlackBerry, the ones that there was no touch, some of them did not have touch screen or maybe a joystick. You could only use buttons and still you could navigate, even use the internet and other things as well. So there are two types of touch screen: resistive and capacitive. So resistive touch screen respond to pressure and they are highly accurate in detecting the position of the touch. So you have to press it more. If you notice, back in the day, touchscreen was not really this responsive. You had to tap and tap before you can get what you want. But these days, there are other capacitive touchscreen. They just require the use of a stylus or other hard objects such as a fingernail. No, those are resistive. Then capacitive touchscreens are little less accurate but more responsive. At the end of the day, because the world is a fast-paced world, they even value speed over or responsiveness over accuracy. So if I make mistake, I can easily backtrack. But please, when I tap something, please just take me there straight ahead. So most of our mobile devices probably use capacitive capacitive. So larger devices generally have two types of storage. That's our RAM, random access for short-term storage, and then ROM for long-term storage. But for mobile devices, there's a solid-state memory for storage of both applications and data that are running on the operating system and application. So, for mobile devices, the storage might be limited. Even if they give you a 1 terabyte and the processor is not aligned to even do the things that 1 terabyte can take, it will probably you will not even get the extensive, what they call it now, the extensive value from that one, because at the end of the day, even when you're trying to do something that is high, that needs high computing power, you're laptop, your phone might be overheating, or it might not even hold storage and not be able to do to laptop. But at the end of the day, we cannot be carrying laptop around to communicate with our friends or with our family. We need something that is easy to move around, which led to the development of how the
Hello, Precious. We can't hear you again. Please, can you increase the volume on your device? Precious, are you there? I'm sorry, everyone. Please, exercise patience. Let's get her back on the call.
Oh, sorry. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, welcome back, Precious. We lost you.
Okay, hope it wasn't too long. All right, so we can all hear me now, right?
Hello, Precious. We cannot hear you and we can't see your screen.
So, all smartphones, plus tablet, not all tablets, anyways. These days, there are some tablets maybe for okay, I think I've been tripped off again. All right, can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, but please backtrack a bit and reshare your screen because we lost you about 2 minutes ago. Can you hear me, Precious?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, all right.
Yes, I can hear you. Can we all see my screen now? I think every time
Yes,
it
we can.
does, the meeting is recording. I don't know what can we prevent that thing from coming up again. That the
Actually,
meeting
it's
is
a sign
recording.
that you got disconnected. Once you hear that, it
Oh,
means
really?
you got disconnected and you got back in again. Yeah.
Wow. It's even my fault. I'm the one complaining. But it's my fault. Wow. So we're talking about the similarities and differences between smartphones and tablets. And I said, okay, can someone tell me the
Yes,
full
and
meaning of.
put in presentation mode. Please, please put in
All right.
presentation mode, sir.
Okay. All right. Is this okay?
Can you all see it
It's
in
fine, right?
presentation mode?
It's okay now.
It's not showing in presentation mode from my end. Mercy, is it in presentation mode at your end? Mercy, um, I think you should stop sharing and start again. Start to reshare. So it can. Let's hope it gets into presentation mode. Stop sharing and
Okay.
refresh your screen. All right, please just go ahead.
All right. So can we see it in presentation mode now?
If you can see it in presentation mode, please indicate in the chat room. Meanwhile, you can proceed, Dr. Precious, for the sake of our time. Please proceed.
All right. Let me just scroll back to where we were. All right. So the differences between the smartphone and the tablet, right? Majorly just the size, and sometimes tablets do not have maybe cellular capabilities you want to go for. Like I said earlier, should be very, you should take into consideration what you intend to use it for. If it's just for normal communication, it's better you just stick to something like a mobile phone, because obviously it's easier to carry around. You're not carrying something that is too big and all of that. So you also need to understand the hardware compatibility, the operating systems, and the networking systems that come with that package. You know, some tablets might not usually have the same level of speed as maybe a smaller phone, but you want to make sure you do your investigation from back end to see from the settings to see which one fits what you want. All right. So, as stated earlier, the small size of mobile devices necessitated new ways of interaction, because obviously people were used to something that had keyboard and mouse, but they were not very, very, not very, very valuable. So they decided to design something that has a touch screen and an on-screen keyboard. Most of our laptops also have on-screen keyboard. By the time you open your settings and search for on-screen keyboard, in case if your keyboard is malfunctioning, maybe one letter does not used to come up or something, don't give up or don't say, oh, I need to change this entire system. Yes, you need to fix it, but temporarily you can use the on-screen keyboard. So currently we have, I think we're higher than IS 17 now. I think what's the latest version of the IS and the latest version of Android? Can somebody get that? So are we aware? Are we aware? Okay. Okay, Android 14. Somebody said 13 and somebody said 14. Which one is the real answer now? What of the iOS? What's the latest version? Okay, I think 14 is the latest version for the Android and latest version for iOS. Okay, I'll be honest, it's a mistake. It's 14. So let me do a quick Google search. I don't use an iOS device. So there's iOS 18 now. Oh, iOS 17, 18 or 17, but I don't know which one is applicable. But online, I saw 18. So this is the major difference between the interface of an iPhone and an Android device. I won't lie, I'd admit the iPhone's interface looks cooler. But I think with the iOS, there's a lot of tweaking you can do to even make with the Android, there's a lot of tweaking you can do to even make your interface look even way more cooler. So that's just yeah, yeah, that's how their applications are arranged, the designs and all of that. So mobile devices are built around a concept called gesture-based interaction. So maybe when you're doing your exam, they might want to ask you something around maybe gesture-based interaction, where users use their fingers and various movements to interact with their touch screen. So the mobile device we're talking about in this case is a mobile device that has touch screen capabilities. So it doesn't require complicated interpretative dance patterns to watch. Very simple, straight to the point. Is either you tap, you swipe, you pinch, and all of that. So tapping, as usual, I don't even need to explain that because I'm sure we've probably there's nobody here that has not tapped on their mobile device today. Even to join this training, you probably tap. So tapping an icon will open the app. When you want to open your Zoom app, you tap on it. So your finger acts like the mouse pointer does on the PC, right? So you also swipe sometimes for some mobile devices, depending on the settings. You can swipe to take a screenshot. You can swipe to maybe make payments or any of those things. So all you need to do is press your finger on the screen and brush it in the direction. I'm sure swiping left or swiping right will probably lead to different outcomes. So you should know what you're trying to do and swiping in the right direction. You can pinch, maybe you want to zoom something or you want to zoom in or zoom out. You can use the pinching where you use two tips of your fingers to expand and compress. Then there's kinetics as well that refers to sense of motion. Sometimes there are some sensors in our mobile phone, like if your screen is locked and you mistakenly tap it or you sat down on it, there's something will just pop up like, is it an accidental, a protection against accidental scrolling can come up or something like that. Also, we have your GPS, your compass, all of those things. Maybe if you move it to this side or say, okay, move it to the north aspect or something to generate a certain output. So we have screen orientation. It can be either portrait or landscape. All you need to do is swipe down from the drop down at the top of your screen. You see something that is circular that has a mobile device inside it. That has a mobile device inside the cycle. Once that thing is turned on, you can seamlessly move from portrait to landscape screen orientations. All of those things are very point um, points to know landscape and portrait. So if you want to type an email, maybe because you're typing something in a landscape mode,
Please, we are sorry for the network glitch, okay? Let's try to get her back on the call. Thank you so much.
All right. I heard this meeting is being recorded. Can you guys hear me? I think I need to reshare my screen. Can we all hear me?
Precious, we lost you at some
All
point.
right.
Please,
Thank you.
you're going to just go back a bit. And then your screen. Okay, your screen is up now.
All
So
right.
please go back. Thank
Yes,
you.
I've reshared it. Thank you. Sorry about the unstable network is beyond my control at this point. So, like I mentioned earlier, because we use our mobile devices for a lot of our day to day activities, it's very easy for the security to be compromised. I'll just focus on getting your mobile device because from there I would see all the people you care about. I can use that one for social engineering. I can steal your identity. I can all of those things very easy, and the amount of damage it will cause, you would be surprised. So it's very important that we make sure our mobile devices are secure. So if you're here, you don't have any form of security in terms of protecting your mobile device, you are wrong. Kindly pick up your phone and do something about it right away. So mobile devices are much easier to steal than desktop computers. Just imagine you don't password your phone or you don't use a biometric system and I pick it up. Uh, I'm going to have a few days because even if you don't have money, there are some things you have that money cannot buy that a bad guy will be interested in. There are numerous security options from passcode to password to pin print, all of those things. I would even advise that you have multiple means of securing your mobile device so you can still use a passcode, still use a fingerprint, no too much security. There's nothing like too much security. Security is always going to be important. So you want to check the type of phone you use and the type of security measures it supports. So if you have passcode, if you're using an iPhone, it's usually 6 digits. You want to that for Android, I think it's 4 digits. But if it's a password, you can use any length depending on what you choose, and make sure there are good password practices. It should contain a letter or some letters, equality, and it should not be less than digits, and it should not be something that can be compromised. So let's look at a smartphone and a tablet. So when it comes to typing, laptop is excellent, notebook is good, smartphone is poor. I wouldn't really say poor. I would say fair. It's a lot of typing or a lot, or you are a programmer or you do maybe a lot of design. Just stick to something that has a wider screen size, right? Content creation, I don't really agree with that. We've seen people that started content creation with just an iPhone or something, and they are really doing well. But then at the end of the day, you will not get the highest level of value with just a smartphone. You probably need to combine it with a good camera, a good laptop, and all of that. Reading, all of them are good. Tablet is excellent because now with if you're using a laptop to read, stay in a particular sitting position. But when it comes to what they call let not fall on your face, because number one, tablets are kind of heavy, and then not heavy per se, but they are heavier than a smartphone. And then you can probably slip off. Please, we don't want you to disfigure your fine face probably don't read while like laying down. You might want to choose a good reading position. So enough because you might be surfing the net for a long period of time. Something as simple as that, you don't want to be in a particular sitting position to achieve it. Notebook excellent, smartphone fair. I think the person that came up with this diagram has a serious beef with smartphones, or maybe the person has a tablet producing company that you just want to discredit smartphones. Sounds good. Netbook fair, smartphones excellent, etc. Finally, this is the first excellence we're seeing for smartphones since the beginning of this list. Portability fair, good, excellent, good. Photo or video display, good, good, fair. Samsung, the photo and video display is excellent. And then tablet, excellent. For some tablet stuff is really poor. Prices, okay, 45. This is definitely not in Naira. All right, so let's move to the second aspect of our material, understanding augmented and virtual reality. So after our break, I'll bring my colleague on the call that will do a brief demonstration in terms of our Internet of Things, our virtual reality is going to show us a few things that we can do from our own end to develop ourselves more and to just explore the world of virtual and augmented reality. So what's the core difference between augmented and virtual reality? These days AR VR is a very common topic. Now we even have AR and VR experts. If you go to look for jobs, you see they're looking for somebody good with AR and VR, and trust me, the money they pay them is not small because it's not it spikes your interest after gone through the course. It might be something you want to look download the software you need to use and probably start doing one or two things by yourself. So it is now becoming one of the hottest topics. AR, VR is becoming very popular alongside artificial intelligence and all of that. So it has exploded in popularity and it's something anybody that is looking to develop career in IT can choose to, major in. So once I also you have some money, you tell your mom, please, I need money, augment, you already know that it means addition, right? Just improves on it. Or yeah, maybe they are trying to develop a robot or something, and then just when they are standing, there's like a blank screen, and then somebody just comes and say, and just use their hand to do some demonstration, and you are watching that thing as if the thing is real, and basically it's not. It's just some rays and everything showing. It's just a display thing, but it looks so real as if the person is standing right in front of you. There's even something that we use, like maybe like I think they call it program or something when somebody passes away, and then maybe you want to use their form, like their physical appearance to pass a message. You can just it will literally look like the person is right in front of you. That's augmented reality. So it's not you into a different world. You in Nigeria with us that is hot. You might even think entering all the fine places there. So let's quickly watch a YouTube video that shows some small. Let me stop sharing this and share this YouTube video. Let's see how it breaks down augmented and virtual reality. Just give me a minute while I share my screen. All right, so we can all see my screen, right? So let me just quickly play the video. I think I'll fast forward it at some point so we can.
Hello, Precious, are you there? Precious, are you there? Please, let's exercise patience. Let's try to get her back. The network is really bad today, all right? Thank you. Hello, Precious, are you there?
All right, can we all hear me?
Precious, we lost you for a while. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
you didn't see the video I was sharing?
It was actually cracking,
Did
so
you
we
see the
didn't
YouTube
see
video I was
anything.
sharing? Oh, wow, that's something. So it was just, I just wanted you to see like a practical example of augmented reality and virtual reality. I'm sure at some point we've all, maybe not all, maybe some of us, we've gone to ShopRite or some of these places that you hang out, and then they put something on your eyes, something like these glasses somebody's wearing, and then maybe you're playing a game, you're fighting. At least I've been in that situation before, and I almost even scattered the whole place. It's totally of technology. I'll probably say this is a spiritual attack or something. It was so real. You wouldn't even believe that you are still here. To look like you are inside that place. So basically, that environment. When it comes to augmented reality, you can be sitting down and you can just press the button and you bring out something that looks like a car. You can
Precious, are
show the
you there?
features of that car. So it's very great when it comes to advertising.
Precious, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
All
me?
right, so we lost you at the point where you played the video. So I don't know if you could go back there so that we can understand exactly what you are talking about.
All right. So
Thank you
I
so
don't know,
much.
maybe it's a network that would then, that's why I didn't reshare the video, because it's looking like maybe if I share it, you still not be able to
Okay,
watch
okay,
it,
that's fine. Please go
right?
ahead.
Okay, but when my colleague comes on the call after the break, is going to do something more practical in terms of the virtual reality. But the video would have just like expanded our understanding of virtual and augmented reality. So when it comes to augmented reality, you can be sitting on your chair, you'll be aware that you are where you are, but just, I don't know if you have watched a movie where maybe somebody's playing golf on a big screen and the person is holding a stick and moving, hitting the golf, the ball, and it's going into the screen. All those ones are augmented reality because you are aware of where you are. But when it comes to virtual reality, you might not be aware. I think virtual reality sticks more towards entertainment or relaxation. But when it comes to augmented reality, it can be used for research purposes, teaching. It will go a long way in terms of advertisement, teaching, and showing, maybe demonstrating something that you've designed or something like that. If we had seen that video, we would have understand what I'm talking about. So the idea behind augmented reality is that it enhances or modifies a user's current reality. So maybe you're developing a new car or you're developing something and you've not fully developed it, but you already know where you're headed to. You can do an augmented reality to present it maybe to investors or to people or to the top management, anything like that. Augmented reality can come really handy in that case. So we can sit in a meeting room and on the large table where we're interacting, I bring out something and it's looking like a car is on the table, but in real sense, there's nothing there. It's just some reflection, and it's just like something fake that just shows that okay, it looks like this thing is here, but it's not here. If you put your hand there, it will be light, it will not be anything. For example, let's just say a person is wearing glasses with augmented reality and is walking down the sidewalk. So when it comes to augmented reality, it can also help people with disabilities. Maybe he's wearing a glasses that should aid his walking, and when he's about to reach a road intersection, the glasses automatically maybe alerts him. You are going towards here. It's dangerous. Maybe you should stop. Wait, it's not time to cross. Something like that, and all of that. But when it comes to virtual reality, you're completely immersed in that situation. I even had recently, maybe when you see here metaverse, Facebook metaverse, all of those things, those ones are is a mixture of both virtual and augmented reality. So all you need is a screen to project the image. It's not just any screen, anyways, but they have their unique types of equipment. You need a screen, a smartphone, a television, eyeglasses, and a heads-up display on the inside of a vehicle shade. Augmented reality experiences provide audio as well. Yes, so I said, like, even if you lost someone and you want to pass a message, maybe to just give the idea that the person standing right in front of you, with augmented reality, they will literally hear the person's voice and see the person's moving with even gesticulations, like raising his hand, talking, and doing even things they used to do when they were alive. But when it comes to virtual reality, it creates an artificial environment. It can be even something that does not exist. It can be an environment that does not exist. It's just purely based on creativity. When it comes to augmented reality as well, a lot of movies they use augmented reality. That green screen you used to see at the back. There's a lot of augmented reality that goes into it. Sometimes you might see somebody climbing on a dragon, and there's not really any dragon there. All of those things are augmented reality. So if that's something that spikes your interest, you should look into augmented and virtual reality. So as opposed to augmented reality, virtual reality creates an artificial environment for user and completely immerses them in it to the extent that you even forget that you're standing on your 2 feet. You literally think, maybe I used one time and it looked like I was on a, I think, a ride, and there were scary things everywhere, and I even forgot that I can easily remove the glasses and be like, and this thing is not real now. But at the end of the day, that's what virtual reality does. Completely immerses you. So it has its pros and cons. But for virtual reality to work, you have to wear the goggles, the VR goggles and headset, unlike augmented reality, that even if you might not be wearing anything and you sit down and you can see it. But virtual reality, you have to wear the VR goggles and headset that displays images very close to your eyes, and blocks out every form of light. If there's any form of light entering into the Google, you might know it might affect the outcome. So it creates a 3D world which the user can navigate. You can go here, you can go there, and literally you're still with us in Ikorodu, but you're in the US, right? So it got started in 2012, formed by a company. A lot of other companies have picked it up to develop it more. So business applications are being developed for VR as well. For example, a store employee could use VR to navigate through shelves, to learn the layout of a new store, or engineers can inspect their designs in 3 dimensions. Other applications such as medical and other types of hands-on training are easily within reach. So these things are actually things we should look into that could definitely add value, not just the entertainment side. It can actually add value to humanity. And then all of it has not been developed yet. We, tomorrow we can still be part of the people that will probably contribute to the value. Okay, so I'm having PTSD. Please, can you guys hear me? Like, hope I've not gone off again.
We
Oh,
can
I
hear
can share the
you.
video. All right. Okay, I can share the video link, right? All right, so I could share the video link as well. Let me just share that link now. So during the break, we can also look at it. All right, so I've shared the video link in the chat box. So basically, like I said, augmented reality, virtual reality, there's a lot that still needs to be developed. There's a lot of intelligence that still needs to be added to the system. If it's something that sparks your interest, there's still room for you there. You can become a VR and AR and expert. It's not really all it takes is a creative mind and the skill set that is required. All of that can begin. You can even learn how to do all of these things on YouTube. There's no limit and there's no age limit. You might think, oh, that's for the small children. Now, at the end of the day, money is for everybody. When they are giving them, the people that develop these things, now when they are making their money, the day is to check their age. So anybody can actually become an AR or VR expert. There's still a lot of things we can do in that aspect of IT. So this is the VR Google and this thing you hold on your hand. And then for augmented reality, they give an example of Pokemon Go. I've never played it. I don't think a lot of us in Nigeria have played that game. Or has anybody played Pokemon Go before? Maybe I'm the one that is a village girl. Let me not. You should tell me. Have you played Pokemon Go? I don't think anybody has, right? All right. I don't think anybody has. It's not a Nigerian kind of thing like that. But some people grew up outside the country, so they might be conversant with it. So if you have played it, that's a proper example of augmented reality. So we've discussed augmented reality, we've discussed virtual reality. One in, adds to the reality that you currently have, and one creates an entirely different reality. So what's the core difference? Augmented reality uses existing real world environments and puts virtual information on top of it. So it's a combination and creates a sort of mixed reality. But virtual reality uses technology such as a headset to create an immersive 3D simulated environment. So let's look at more differences between augmented reality and virtual reality. Augmented reality augments real world, enriches existing surroundings. So you might actually have a golf club in your hand, but on the screen there's like a field filled with grass with the holes for the gloves. I really don't know how it works, but then is augmented reality. I'm not I'm not the one that developed it, so but it's actually possible. You can stand in front of a screen and play golf with that screen. But you have to use the equipment. It's not like you can hold the golf club you bought from Balogo Market or it came with its own special one before you can break the screen. So virtual reality replaces really with everything reality with a simulated environment. Like I said, you can be sitting on your chair in your room or you're on a merry-go-round in Disneyland. All of those things are possible with virtual reality. User experience, it remains anchored in the real world. So you'll be still be aware that okay, I'm sitting, or still be aware that I'm in a boardroom with my top management members. But when it comes to virtual reality, you will be totally immersed. You will not even hear any sound. You will not even, okay, you might hear sound, you will hear sound, but because you are so engrossed in the this thing that is so close to your eyes, you the sound might be not as loud as you have heard it when you pull off the Googles. Augmented reality is actually accessible through smartphones, tablets, right? You don't need any special thing. But when it comes to virtual reality, you need the specialized headset and either tethered or standalone. It can come with its own other device that maybe like a display system that you use to press this, press that, or maybe a software that you have to install and so that it can work and give the outcome that you're looking for. Augmented reality has intuitive interaction with gestures, touch, or voice commands. So you can say open, all of those things, and to work. But virtual reality involves full body movement or specialized controller. Sometimes you're sitting in the chair, it's shaking you so much that you even feel like you are inside that thing that it's doing. So social interaction, it facilitates social interaction by overlaying digital content onto shared physical spaces. Virtual reality, immersive multiplayer experiences where users interact as avatars. So recently I was even hearing some crazy things that happen in the metaverse. Like I'm like, is it not virtual reality? Things that cannot even happen in the real world, they are happening in the metaverse. You can even like create an avatar, interact. You can even go to another, like travel to another country, but really you're still in your country basically. Mobility, it allows greater mobility within the real world. Virtual reality is typically stationary or confined to a limited space. So we see the components of augmented or virtual reality software. It has to have a processor. Recommended is Intel i7, graphics card NVIDIA RTX 20 series, memory gig 16 gig, user port 1, but it could be more than that. This is just a minimum recommendation when it comes to our AR and VR devices, operating system, and all of that. So they still have all of those things. So let me just briefly talk about Internet of Things, then so that when we come back, when we're doing our practical session, it will not be entirely new. So Internet of Things is basically the interconnection of devices on a network whereby they speak to each other and share resources. A proper depiction of Internet of Things will probably be a smart home. I don't know. I would believe most of us have never probably interacted with a smart home or live in one. But then I know some of us might even live in a smart home. I'm not saying we don't have we don't live in smart homes, but it's an accurate depiction of Internet of Things. So you can have your gas cooker, your AC, your cooling systems, your window blinds, all of those things can be connected with sensors that you can use to just operate it from one single software. Close the window blind, lock the door, um turn on the camera here, do this and do that. It's it's a very good development because it can improve your quality of life. It can even help with security and all of that. If you notice somebody gaining unauthorized entrance to your apartment, you can easily, without even running towards the door, you can just use a button, click lock, and the door locked. Or you go to work, you forgot to turn off your gas cooker or something, you don't even have to rush back, no need to panic. Just open your software and click it, and everything goes off. Or you notice that you forgot to turn off the light and light bills are skyrocketing, you don't want it to waste, you can just use a single point of contact to you know fix it. So Internet of Things is a network of devices that are able to communicate with each other and exchange data. It's one of the hottest topics in computing today. At the end of the day, human beings are always looking for simpler ways to achieve some of the things they do from day to day. Maybe you want to wet the grass. You can have a sprinkler on your lawn and just click from your this thing. If you notice, then you can even have something that measures humidity. So if the humidity drops to certain levels that are below what you want, you don't even have to click a button, it will automatically kickstart the sprinkler who will now wet that lawn. Or if you have a farm or something like that. So can we see that Internet of Things is actually something that can extremely improve the quality of your life. So those things that are connected can be hardware devices, software, data, or even a service. It can be something like a jet engine with multiple sensors. So they work with sensors and actuators. Those things are core aspects of devices within the Internet of Things network. So the concept of Internet of Things has been around for nearly 4 decades, even though it's gaining more traction now. So they said by the end of 2024, there will be 15 to 17 billion IoT enabled devices in Nigeria. Recently, I was on Twitter, and one man was like, he went to buy food, and he gave the waiter his POS. He had not even imputed his PIN, and he got a debit alert, and he was shocked. All of those things are the capabilities of Internet of Things. So somebody was telling him there's a microchip on some ATM cards, not on all ATM cards. Those that have the capability, you don't need to put your PIN. Just take it close to the POS and it will automatically deduct your money. I everybody like, in Nigeria, please, they should not give us that type of ATM. Or they should please disable it. They should discontinue the production of that ATM for Nigeria. They should leave it for those abroad, right? So it's, as much as is also a lot of security risks as well. So it's very important that when you are developing these things, you also take into consideration the security threats they pose to the users. So let's look at some of the uses of IoT, consumer uses. So every device has its own app and many things to do. So you open different apps, and that's very tedious, right? So what if you bring everything to one app and they can do it from that single point? So you can use an app for maybe like a Siri now. It's Internet of Things. So you can be lying down on your bed and you say, "Hey Siri," and your speaker, maybe the speakers in your ceiling or the speaker by your bedside, answers you, and you say, "Play this, play that," and automatically it's going to go directly to what you want to do. Or call my mom, and it doesn't even pick up the phone. Automatically it knows what to do. The sensors have already activated it, and it places the call. Or you say, "Hey Siri, what is on my calendar for today?" All of those things are aspects of Internet of Things, and they make our life easier. These days is one of the big selling points when you're, creating a device. It should have Internet of Things capability, sensors that can connect with other devices to carry out different capabilities. So this one now, this application is for a smart home, Amazon Echo Hub Home. So you can put it in any of your houses, but you cannot just get the application and just put it in your house. It has to have some um enabled devices that can actually connect with each other. You should not go and buy the gas cooker from Obalende and say, now let me download this app and say gas cooker cook rice. No, it will not work. Oh, it has to be and a smart device, right? So if you can see on this picture we have here, it has access to the cameras, so you can view all the cameras within your home from a single point. If you are noticing something that shouldn't happen, you can easily address it. It has the front door camera, living room, the temperature, you can control it from here, the ceiling fan. If you want to even vacuum, you want to sweep, you want to clean the house, you don't even have to stand up. This I think this smart this thing, it cannot work in Nigeria because of our parents. They will cast and bind it. They say, so our children will be lazy, they can't stand up and do anything. Maybe this thing is an able to know. But don't worry, when we will become the parents, would give them free hand, let Nigeria just become better, and we should be able to afford all these things. Household uses, home entertainment, you can turn on your speaker from a single software, you can reduce the volume, increase the volume, you don't have to stand up. So not all smart TVs are really smart, and large televisions are definitely not portable. So your TVs as well, you want to watch a movie, you want to maybe schedule to watch a particular news or something, all of these things, you can handle them from a single point of view. So home entertainment is definitely the largest segment of IoT devices on the market today. We have smart TVs, you have smart speakers, you have all of those things. So you have streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Football TV, all of those things have built-in network and remote control capabilities. Day to they are improving on their provisions to make sure they are in line with the current devices that we have, and make sure that they can tap into the Internet of Things capabilities. All of this is our IoT devices. Heating and cooling system, I think we've spoken about that before. Home appliances, your cooker, your coffee maker. Maybe you like taking your coffee at 8 a.m. or you like sleep too. So maybe by 7 something, you just press that button. Or you can even just schedule it. And if you always wake up by 8 a.m., once you wake up, you come and carry your coffee and you drink, and life is good. So appliances like this exist today and they are slowly becoming popular, even though they are quite expensive, but those that have it, those that can afford it are actually buying it. And I'm sure with time, a lot of people will be able to afford it because they will not even have the choice because that's the devices that will full the market. So we have other examples like smart washing machines, clothes dryers, ovens. All of those things are part of the Internet of Things spectrum as well. Even small, tiny devices that you would think could cannot even have that function with the right equipment. If they are properly equipped, they can function within the IoT network. So another aspect is security system. So while home entertainment is currently the biggest market for smart home devices, smart security systems is also a massive market as well. They require professional installation and they are get towards sometimes you can even install it by yourself. They can give you maybe a list of what to do and you can install it by yourself. It can carry out monitoring, it can carry out, ensuring that your doors are locked maybe at a certain time, your doorbells, you can make sure the doorbell, the camera, immediately somebody is at your door, it already captured the person's picture, it has alerted you. Do you know this person? All of those things. You can even turn on the fire alarm automatically. All of those things are all security aspects of the IoT, right? So you have motion sensors. If somebody is moving, maybe the person has gained unauthorized access, but the person is moving automatically, it will send a trigger. It will trigger an alarm as well. Gas and smoke detectors, garage door openers. If you want to drive out, you don't have to go and be opening and locking the gate before. If you do that one like that in some places in Lagos, by the time you park your car outside to go and lock the gate, you come back and you probably not see your car. So you see there are some security aspects of this IoT. It doesn't just make our life better, it also secures us better and you're in full control from one single point. So it's very important that you protect that single control in terms of your phone so that people cannot, once they breach that device, they can also breach your security. So we have other consumer uses, modern vehicles. You are all familiar with Tesla, Elon Musk cars. You have electric cars. All of those things are smart devices. Automatically you can be moving with the car. If the battery is low, it signals you. If something is wrong with the car, all of those things are Internet of Things, different devices working together to pass certain information or to share certain resources and produce certain outcomes. So Tesla is a very, very good example of a smart vehicle. It can even drive itself. It can drive you to a location without you even touching the steering because it's a smart vehicle. All you need to do is input the location. But if you try it in Nigeria as well, Google Maps service will lead you to different places. Then you go and put it up. Anywhere you land, you will not blame the car because it took you to what you imputed. So it has some limitations as well, but the advantages supersede these disadvantages. So a lot of vehicles today are controlled through an elaborate network of computers, from your engine to how I depress the accelerator. All of those things are centrally controlled and you can even just set it and you don't even have to do all of those things. It can even warn you if there's a car in your blind spot. It already knows where you can't see. Or if you're too tired, or if you're the car is so smart that it can say, okay, do you need me to even it can even say, do you need me to call? Maybe there's a number you can even call. If maybe you're drunk or something and you can't drive, it automatically alerts another person that can come and pick you at that location. That's how smart some of these cars are. So it's very important. It's integrated with a GPS system also that can move around and detect different locations. It even has a log where you can see all the maybe locations you visited over the week or over the year and all of that. So fitness and health as well is also a big industry for IoT compatible devices. So some people wear smartwatches. The smartwatch will calculate how many steps you've taken in a day. If your heart rate is increasing more than the normal rate, it can raise an alarm. All of those things are good applications of IoT devices in the area of fitness and health. So even check your blood sugar. All of those things are very, very important. Commercial uses, we've talked about medical devices. You know, sometimes that even these now are these robots perform operations, surgical operations. I don't think I'll allow a robot to perform a surgical operation on me, but it used to happen, right? So the limit to which the Internet of Things is going is not predictable. Tomorrow we can hear even something we've not heard before. If it sparks your interest, you want to make sure that you take it into consideration. So we'll go on our break now. I guess we'll be back by 1:17 because it's a 1 hour break. Then we'll do our practical session and we'll wrap up the training. All right,
Hello,
please.
Precious.
Yes.
Please, the break is not going to be for 1 hour. It's
Oh, it's
30
not
minutes,
okay.
please.
Oh,
30
okay, that's
minutes.
fine. That's fine.
Thank you so much. Everybody, please come back.
Oh, sorry. Abiodun said, is our mobile phone also an IoT device? Yes. All right. So
I didn't
let's
get that,
go.
please.
No, he asked a question in the chat box, so I was answering it. All right. So we can go on our 30 minutes break now. So maybe we can just come back. This is 12:18. Okay, so we can come back by 12:50. So I added 2 minutes. So we can come back by 12:50. Alright, so we can start our practical sessions. Please reach out to them if you can.
Yes, ma. We are back. We are together with you, ma.
All right, thank you. So we'll just give the other people a few minutes to join us and start.
Computer. All things being equal, you can install just a single operating system into a computer. Although nowadays people have things like dual boot and things like that that makes you have multiple operating system. But even at that, you can only swap at runtime. That's like at BIOS time, not when you've already booted your operating system. But this software that I will be using, this virtualization software, allows me to run multiple operating system while the current operating system is still running. So the current operating system is like the hosts, and the other operating system are going to be like guests. And the most popular is what people call VirtualBox. So VirtualBox is what I'll be using. So VMware is also very popular, but VMware is not open source. And although they have a free version, but VirtualBox will be what I will be using for this, just for us to see how a server environment is and how we can set it up and things around that. So let me quickly share my VirtualBox. Let me open it first. So if I am moving too fast, let me know, because so that I will know how I should approach this. If I'm moving too fast, do you understand my explanation on virtualization? That's just in layman terms. So you want to run multiple operating system in a single machine. And the reason I am doing that is that it can be, I will not be able to show you a server environment for my computer because this is Windows 10. Windows 10 is not server. So that's why I am using this software known as VirtualBox. And just for me to also mention that Microsoft have their own virtualization software that is installed by default to your Windows 10 to your Windows 11, and they call that one Hyper-V. Hyper-V. Hyper-V is, even though it is installed by default, it is not enabled by default. So you will need to enable it to be able to work with it. But I find VirtualBox VMware are way easier to work with, and they are more customizable than Hyper-V. But just take note of that there's Hyper-V that is in your own computer right now. So I have three operating systems here. I have three operating systems here. I have this that is called Metasploitable, which is actually an Ubuntu server. So even though it's called Metasploitable, even though I named it Metasploitable, it's an Ubuntu server. I have Kali Linux, which is it's a Linux-based distribution, and I have OWASP broken web application. So I can add another Windows 10 here. So for me to add that, I will just come to add. I'll click on add. Sorry. I'll click on new. Then I will give it a name. Can you see the wizard that popped up? Can you see the wizard that popped up?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Can you ask me any question, or just someone should say something? Okay. Okay. So should I continue? Should I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can give it any name I like. So even though I am currently running Windows 10, I can call this Windows 10 for let's say for my office. Let me just call it. I don't know. So I just gave it that name. So anytime you want to install an operating system, there's usually an ISO image. So the same way when you are in a Windows environment and you want to install a software, it's most times it's a .exe. So, and if you are in a Linux Ubuntu to be specific environment, it's a .deb file. That's .deb. For an operating system, whether it's Linux or it's Windows, it's usually a .iso image. So even if you should visit Microsoft website now that you want to, or you should Google download Windows 10 or Windows 11, you are going to have to download a .iso file. The ISO is actually, the reason they call it .iso is that it's actually a standard ISO 9660 that maps with your CD-ROM. So whatever you are running in your drive, you can map it as a file, and that's basically why it is a .iso file. It's not just for operating system, but it's common with operating system because they usually have a disk, a CD-ROM. So that's basically it. So we can select the ISO that we want. So I can navigate to where I have a Windows 10 ISO file. So if I should click on this, so these are the ones that I have used previously. If I click on order, I can go to, you can see I have a Windows 10 blah 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 .iso file here. And you can see I have a Kali Linux.iso file here. So you can also download Windows 11 and attach it as well. So should I add okay, let me add Windows 10. So I've added Windows 10 now. Then you can specify, you can see the version is automatically selected, the type, we have it, and blah blah blah. So we can go to next, and we can see a username and password and a couple of information as well. So for this, we can, so it's asking me for a license, but I do not want to use one at the moment. So let me go back. Let me go to next. Okay, so because of the name, I need to change this. Let me remove the space first. Yeah. So I can click on next. And now, so there's the hardware aspect of your operating system. And the reason why I specifically like this is that we are going to do all
Hello,
the
Ayo.
architecture. Yes, please.
Okay, you have a question in the chat room.
Yeah, thank you very much. I love questions. Okay, let me take my window back to the chat room. Just give me a moment to navigate to my Zoom. Or can someone read it for me?
Okay, what do you want me to read for you?
The question.
Okay, saying that how did you get to this point?
Okay. So the first thing is that I installed VirtualBox. So let me go to my browser and let me show you how you can get that. So I just want you to see how some of the configurations around operating system work. So let me go to my browser and you see how you can get started with that. Okay, so all you just need to do is search for VirtualBox, download, and it will take you to the page, and you just need to download and install it. And the moment after installing it, Windows OS, then you can just launch it and you will see that interface. Then after seeing that interface, you will now be able to add up machines to your environment. You'll be able to add operating systems to your environment. So one thing I want to say is that some of the configurations that we are setting up in our VirtualBox, we are actually going to send you this setup. So this VirtualBox, we are going to give you a link to downloading it and to working how you can launch it and working with it as well. So so that you can test it on your own. One thing I want to say is that some of the configurations around operating system that we were trying to set up, if you want to check them in your host machine, can someone tell me how you can look at the specification for your operating system in a Windows environment? Can someone tell us? Does anyone know that? So let's say I want to see the processor type, I want to see the clock speed, I want to see the generation of the processor, I want to see the hard disk size and things around that for a Windows environment. Now, can someone tell me what command or where do we go to check that for our computer?
DSDAC.
Okay, so you said what? Sorry, DXR.
You can use a DSDAG. DSDIAG.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So, can you so that is a command that you can use. That is a tool that you can use. But If we want to, so let me use Windows R. So you said DX dag. So let's see what it is. Can you see my own window? Can you see my own window?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So okay, let's see if what is said is true. I hope you know how I got that window. I press the Windows button and I press R at the same time. So that's how I can come to. You can see the system information. You can see current dates, computer name, blah 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 blah. So
Can't see
the
your
memory.
screen, oh. I'm only seeing
Oh,
the download
okay,
box.
okay. So I need to share that particular one.
Yeah, you, sir.
Yeah. So I believe you can see it now. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I entered the command that it
Yes, sir.
said. I entered the command that it said, and it gave me this. So for you to have gone through, for you to be an operating system technician, you should be able to gather specs for operating system. So someone, if you are asked about some of the configuration around what is the RAM size, what is the processor type, how many cores are in use and things like that, what are the specs around the sound, around the display. Like this, my computer now, it's a gaming laptop. So I have a dedicated graphics card just for graphics alone, because it is a gaming laptop that I am currently using. It's an MSI laptop. So if you come to display, you can see dedicated information around my graphics. Okay, so you can also see specs around rendering. Yeah, you can see the NVIDIA GeForce. This is my graphics, the graphics card that I am currently using, and you can see that a lot of information around this. You can see sound and blah blah blah. Another place you can see some of this is by going to device manager. So if you go to device manager, you can see a lot of information around the operating system as well. And how do you go to device manager? You just click on start, search for device manager, open it, and you see a list of different devices, different aspects of the operating system that are important for you. Okay, so another place that you can see some of this information is, so one particular command that you should have in your head is that Windows R, because it allows you to run so many things from just that particular window. So let me go back. So let me press Windows R, then let me search for MS Info 32. If any of you is with your computer, if you are with your computer there, enter Windows R, then search for MS Info 32. MS Info 32. We are still going to look at our visualization, but I just want us to know these basics first. And we still have IoT to cover. We still have virtual reality to cover as well. So we'll see how it goes. MS Info 32. When you enter MS Info 32, you are even going to see more specifications that are not covered from this window. So you are going to see more elaborate configurations around your operating system. MS Info 32. Search for Windows R, then MS Info 32. Okay, so now I just wanted us to establish this. Let's now go back to our virtualization. Any other question? Any other questions so far based on what I have explained so far? Okay, so let's go to our virtualization. So I think what I will even do to make us move at a faster rate is that I will just launch some of the VMs that I already have so that we can cover it, so that we can just see how it goes, because it's something that we can do for an entire day. So let me go back to my VirtualBox. Yeah, so if you want to, before I actually launch one, so that you would at least have a little bit of understanding around how you start, I believe I am sharing my screen. You can see the VirtualBox, right? You can see the VirtualBox window.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you just need to do is, after downloading VirtualBox and installing it, you just need to click on new, because you want to create a new operating system. So you click on new. You click on new. Then you give your operating system a name like we already did. You can give it anything. Then you attach your ISO image. I can attach something that I've added before. I already explained all this previously. Then you can click on next. Then you give your host name. Then you click on next again. Then you choose your base memory. So when we are talking about operating system, the number of CPUs, the number of the memory size are important. So you can see that we have 1 to 8 CPUs here, and for the memory we have from 4 to 8192. Can someone tell me why we have 8192 here and not maybe 16 or 32 or something? Can someone tell me? Yeah, can someone tell me why we have 8192 here? Anyone? And why we have 8 CPUs here?
Sir, the reason is, sir, the
Thank
reason
you.
is that
Yes, please, go on. Please speak. I didn't hear you
Okay.
initially.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. I think among the reason your physical RAM for your main system, the host, is 8 GB RAM.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. That means I am not speaking to myself. People are following. So exactly, because the host computer, the physical device, this is it. And we are sharing resources. The virtual machine I'm running on top of it will share resources with my own computer. So it must be something that is lower than what I am currently using. And it should use it also depends on what you also the amount of of processes that is currently running in your computer. So that is why, because of the hosts, the physical device, that's what virtualization is all about. There's a physical device somewhere, but you want to run multiple on top of it that will be sharing resources with it. Yeah, so I can give it any value here that makes sense. So it's currently on 2, which makes sense. So that means my host computer will be using about 6 gig 6 gig RAM, which is still fine. The CPU 1 or 2 is okay. So let me just give it 2. So I will still have about 6 CPU that I'll currently be using, which makes sense. I am not going to start this, but I just want you to see how it goes. Then we can also see the disk size. We can create a virtual disk or use an existing one and blah blah blah. So it's very straightforward. You can just roll with it and you will be able to work with it. So let me just launch an Ubuntu, the Ubuntu server that I already have, and I will continue from there. You might ask that why do I have Metasploitable, OWASP, broken web application, Kali Linux, and I do not have Windows 10, Windows 7, blah blah blah. I actually used to have Windows 10 and Windows 7, but I actually deleted them because of space. But this this operating system that I have here, are the ones that I use regularly. I am into information security, So I always use Kali Linux. I always use Broken Web Application and Metasploitable because they are all security-based operating systems. So they are specialized operating systems for security. So if you are thinking about cyber security, you are thinking about information security, you want to have a good understanding around that area, it's a good idea that you familiarize yourself around security-based operating systems. So there are multiple. There are operating systems for digital forensics and so many like that. So let me just quickly launch Metasploitable, which is actually an Ubuntu server. So there is Ubuntu server, there is Ubuntu desktop. So let me just launch it very quickly. Yes, normal start. But this is Ubuntu server. In my other computer that is beside me, I have Ubuntu desktop over there. But over here we have the server. It's coming up. It's coming up. So can you see the starting up, loading, please wait, or you are still seeing the former screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, okay. So this is how a server environment usually pop up. So usually in a server environment, whether it's Ubuntu server, whether it's Red Hat or Oracle server or any kind of server as it were, it's usually command line. So I think the only popular example that is not clearly command line that is also a server is Microsoft Server. So Microsoft Server is actually, you have a GUI. You can launch Microsoft Server as a GUI, but you can even limit Microsoft Server as a bare metal. So you don't necessarily have to use it as a as a GUI, but Microsoft Server as a web browser. If you are on Microsoft Server, maybe Windows Server rather, you have Internet Explorer, Edge to use. You have it will be similar. It will look similar to your Windows environment. So let me quickly log in to my server. Remember, you can ask me anything at any time. So I have logged into my server. So you can see that usually when you log into your server, it tells you blah, 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 and so much information around your last login and things around that. So one thing I want us to see is we want to know the version of Ubuntu that we are currently running. And what I'll be doing is I'll be running a command that we are going to use for that. So we'll be using lsb_release. Oh, where is my lsb_release? I think this is the command. Okay, no LSB modules are available. So we are going to add a tag to it, a parameter to it. So let's add a. So I want to know the version of Ubuntu. Yeah, so we can see that no mail. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just showing the preview. So can you?
Okay, let me reshare. Yeah.
Yeah,
Back to
click on.
login.
I think you forgot
Go
to click
back
on
to
show.
the login to my server, please.
Yeah, you can see it now. Should be able to see it now.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so this is the server. When you are in a server environment, this is what you are going to be working with. So it is a good idea for you to know popular commands when it comes to Linux environment. The good thing is that in Bash, the popular commands, they are actually very, very generic. So what you are using in Ubuntu server is very, very similar to the commands that you'll be using in another Linux distribution. So by just knowing how to, so for example, now let me say I want to know where I am. I will use pwd, print working directory. Oh, what's wrong with my system? Can you see anything being typed? Can you see anything being typed?
No.
Okay, so I think I need to
No,
share
sir.
my entire window. I think I need to share my entire window. Let me share my entire computer. Okay. You can see my screen now, obviously. But
Yes.
what I'm typing is not going through, and I don't know why. I think my computer
Yeah,
is okay. It's now working. It's now working. So let's say I want to know where I am. So pwd, print working directory. So I click on enter. I can see where I am. I'm in home. I'm in MSF admin. So these commands are very generic. So if you are working with operating systems, whether it's a web server or any kind of operating system, some of all these you need to have it in your head. Even in Windows environment, I believe you can still use print working directory. So if I want to see the list of everything in this over here, I can use ls and I can see that there's a folder called vulnerable. I can cd into vulnerable. So I'm changing directory now and I've entered vulnerable. So I can now also ls into vulnerable and I can see a couple of applications around it. If I want to if I want to go back, I can use cd ... and I go back. If I want to create a file here, usually in Linux environment, we use torch. So you can use torch file1.txt to create a file here. And the file is now created. If I should ls, I can see the file1.txt. If I want to write some data into a file, I can use cat. Write some data, no, echo. I can use echo. My name is Ayo. Close this and use this to enter file2.txt. So all these commands I am actually using are very common commands when it comes to working with terminal. So now if I use ls, I have my file2. If I should cut what is inside file2, I will see what I wrote printed to the screen. So you can see cat, my name is Ayo. So there are so many basic commands like this that you need to be aware of. So you cannot go to Notepad now and say you want to, because we don't have a Notepad here. But although we have some command line based editors, but they are not very straightforward to use like your Notepad. So we have Vim. There's an editor called Vim. I'm not sure if it is installed here, but you can see if it is here. Let me see if it's installed by default. I can install it. We have Vim. Yeah, so it is actually here. So you can see Vim. So I've even forgotten how I can go back. I know I need to use colon and is it Q? I think it's Q. Yeah. So let me clear my screen. Yeah, so basically those are just some basic commands around server environment. I would share you a you can know your IP details. This is also very important, if config. Before we end this lab for operating system, you can try if config and you see your IP address. So you can see my private IP address from this Ethernet interface. You can see my private IP is what you have here, 10.02.15. So what this means is that if I should go to the host computer and I enter this IP address, I will be able to access this web page. So the way servers work is that, so I will just end with this before we go to virtual reality and Internet of Things. The way servers work is that, so even though in a server there is no GUI, but you can use a server to power a GUI. What do I mean? It is through ports. So if I should upload the source code for an application to this server, so you can upload files. There are tools that you can use to, there are commands you can use to command, there are commands you can use to copy code to a server. So if I should upload it here, I can open ports, I can open certain ports that will allow end users to be able to access the source code in this server. So even though I do not have access to a GUI window, but external users can leverage on the speed and the sophistication of a server to be able to get a response from this server. So they can use their browser to send a request to this server, and the server will give them an appropriate response. So let us shut down. And also, if you want to shut down, you cannot, there's no start button that you use to shut down. How do we shut down? So there are multiple ways you can shut down a server, an Ubuntu server. So you can use shut down and now, if you want it to be now. Okay, I need to be the root, so I will add sudo. Sudo is super user do. That's the full meaning of sudo, super user do. So if you want to run so what you call administrators in what you know, when you launch an application in the Windows environment and they say this application needs administrator stuff to continue, and you click OK. Over here, there is nothing, there's no pop up. What we use is sudo. So I can use sudo, and it's asking me to enter my password. And this is one of the reasons why Linux is very, very popular as a server, because it's more secure to an extent than Windows. It is controversial. Some people might not agree, and I agree, and I respect their opinion around that. But I have good I have key points. I can argue that using Linux-based environment as a server, especially if it is a properly maintained Linux environment, is way better than it's more secure than a Windows environment. For example, viruses. You don't have the way viruses affect Windows OS is not that popular with Linux, and there are reasons why. But let's not lose track of what we are doing. Does anyone think that Windows is more secure than Linux as a server? Give me your reasons. Anyone wants to disagree? Let me close all these windows. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so any question so far? Any question? Before we go to virtual reality. Any question? Any question? Yes, please go on.
What I'm trying to say is that the code, this all those codes, does it
Yes.
have a textbook?
Okay, you
Like
said okay, does it have what? Please go on. Does it
textbook,
have textbook?
textbook? Yes, so that we can be studying it.
Yeah. Yes. We are going to provide you with that. Yes. All the commands, the key commands that you will be using in a Linux
Thank you.
environment. We are going to provide you with that.
I have a question.
Yes, please go on.
Yeah, is it possible to always toggle between Ubuntu and the normal first Windows?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you come back again? Can you repeat yourself? You said, is it possible to...
I mean, is it always toggle between the Ubuntu and the Windows? Is it always possible?
Okay. Can someone that heard him...
The question is in the chat box. It said, is it possible to toggle around Ubuntu and Windows at the same time?
Okay. That's a very good question. Yes, it is very, very possible. It's very possible. Yeah, so that is basically what I am actually doing. It's unfortunate that I do not have an Ubuntu desktop VM here running, but I actually have the Ubuntu server, and even in your Windows, let me also mention that in your Windows, there's something that Microsoft did a couple of years ago. They went into an agreement with Ubuntu that actually made your Windows to be able to run Ubuntu even without a virtual box. How do I mean? So in my own computer now, if I should click on the search box and I enter Ubuntu, I can actually open the Ubuntu terminal in my computer even without any virtual box, even without any virtual machine. And so all your Windows your Windows 11, your Windows 10, all you just need to do is to activate it. So it is disabled by default. There are a couple of things that you just need to set up and you'll be able to run that. That's even if you are not using a virtualization software like what I am using. And so let me even use this Kali Linux as just an example, because this is similar to the Ubuntu desktop. So I can actually run all these virtual machines at the same time, as long as my computer specs is strong enough to capture, to carry everything, to work with everything concurrently. That is why it is important that when I was choosing when I was allocating RAM and allocating memory, it is important that you allocate that the summation of everything here is not more than what you have in the physical machine, because if it is more than, then that is buffer overflow. That's your computer will be overwhelmed. So I can run this and I can run this at the same time, and I can also run this at the same time, because I know that the RAM I gave this is probably about 1 gig. The RAM I gave this is also like 1 gig. Yes, please. Yeah, the RAM I gave this is also about 1 gig, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 is just 3. And my own host computer is 8 gig. So
I have
my
a
computer.
question.
Yes, please go on.
My question is that let's say now I have a system of 8 gig RAM
Yes.
that I've occupied like 3 gig RAM. That means if I want to install this something like this,
Yeah.
I only have 6 gig available, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
You are going to have about 6 gig available as at the time that you are running the virtual machine. The moment you power off the virtual machine, then you get your full space back. That is the great thing about this virtualization. So if I should start it, so if I should right click and I come to start and I click on normal start, that is when the resources will be taken from my host system. But the moment I shut it down, then my host system will now get the all its resources back. So it is based on demand. So it's not like it is giving it those resources permanently. It's just while it is running. Yeah, so before we actually go to our internet, our virtual reality, I just want you to just see the interface of another operating system, which is Kali Linux. I just want you to see it. The reason why I want you to see some of these popular operating systems, their interfaces, is that it will help you in knowing how many of these operating systems are structured. I wish I had set up a Windows server. I would have loved to show you Windows Server also, so that you can just look at how Windows Server is different from Windows from the regular Windows that you see every day. This is not going to take time. I know I'm very conscious of time. I just want you to see the interface. It's coming up. It's coming up. And so let me enter my password. Yeah, so this is Kali Linux. When it comes to vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, this is like the #1 operating system that is used when it comes to penetration testing. So it's really, really key. Yeah, so you can see the interface. This is another operating system. Can you see the interface?
Yes, sir. It's very
Okay.
much clear.
Okay. So if I should come to applications, you can see so many aspects of information security here. So many aspects of information security here, and the tools that you can use. So it has a browser. So you can see I have Mozilla here. It has a text file and so many things like that. So this is Kali Linux. So let me now go back to, let's go to our Internet of Things. Let me shut it down so that I will have enough space, enough resources allocated to me. Yeah, so let me go to my my browser. Let me go to my browser. Let me share my browser. Here's my browser. I think. Okay. Yeah, so now we want to look at virtual reality. We want to look at virtual reality. I always love um to speak about virtual reality. Because it's something that is very, very interesting, and you'll be like, wow. Was it last year or last 2 years? Meta invested heavily, billions of dollars into metaverse rather. So there's something called metaverse. Yeah, you can see the metaverse is a loosely defined referring to virtual world. So it is a world, and but it is not real. So there's a thin line between virtual reality and artificial intelligence. Before ChatGPT became a lot, became the the new wave in town, virtual reality, IoT, they were actually the technology that was really bubbling everywhere. But now that AI came, AI have taken a lot of popularity away from it. But still, there are still overlaps between them. So virtual reality can be embedded into, can work hand in hand with AI as well as IoT. And I'll be explaining key concept around this very, very soon. So for this class, I actually created a virtual world, a virtual class for us, and I'll be sharing the link to us so that we can join. Just give me a moment to get the link. So there are actually many virtual reality platforms that you can use. But I would be, let me fetch the link and I'll put it in the chat box. Just give me a moment
Yeah, the
to.
Holy Ghost come afresh on me, and abide with me. Yeah, the Holy Ghost come afresh, afresh upon me. Abide with me, abide with me, abide with me, abide with me, abide with me. Jesus Christ, let the Holy Ghost come afresh on me. Let the Holy Ghost come afresh on me. Let the Holy Ghost come afresh on me.
Please let's all mute our mic.
Your mic, I beg.
Okay. So I'm finding it. Just give me a moment to fetch the link out. I'm trying to search for it, but the platform that I used for it, I'll get it out now. Just give me a moment, and I'll be sharing it with Precious so that she can, if she can add it to the chat box, because my computer is not, my phone is not connected to my computer. I know I have it in my phone. Yeah, so I've shared it with Precious, and I will also see if I can get it to my computer. Precious, please, can you post it to the chat box, please?
All right, I'll do that right away.
Yeah, thank you. So virtual reality, it's all about having a virtual world. It's all about the way we're having this meeting now. So rather than us having it this way, we can have a a virtual world where all of us are maybe seated, and you have friends, you have your mic, and there are also devices that help this virtual world. So let me see if it has been shared. Has it been shared, please?
Yes, I've shared it.
Okay, so I
I was
also
still
want to.
seeing the website, the
Okay,
web browser page.
okay. Let me open this. Oh, it's expired. So I need to set this up. Why? But I don't have the time to set it up right now. So but what this basically does is that what it actually set it for today, but probably I did not set the time well. I set the time maybe probably by 10 or something, by 10 a.m. or something. That's why it's expired. but it's free. So you can also go on the platform. Let me see if I can go to the platform here. Hopefully I will be logged in. If I'm not logged in, then that will be problem. Okay, you can see the virtual reality demo training transformation TCBT virtual reality demo that I created, which they said is expired. Transformation college TCBT means Transformation College Business School. So we can create another one. So I want to create a space now. So remote office or a conference. So this is more like a conference. So I do not want to talk too much. I want you guys to see some of these things in action. So and this is just one of the platforms. I will give you a couple of platforms that does things even better than this. The only reason why I am using this is that it is easy to set up, and it is free as well. So what type of event is this going to be? Is it a talk, seminar, blah, blah, blah? This is a, I'll go with a conference, okay, or a class rather, a class or workshop. What category does your event fall into? Blah, blah, blah. It's education, internal, no, external, I don't know. We have external people here. How many people? We are 0 to 25. Are we truly 0 to 25, or are we more than that? Because everybody will be
We are
clicking on
30
the
on the
link.
phone.
Okay, so 25 to 50. Yes, create a space. No, link to an. I want to create a space. Yeah, so we can see what we have here. So you can see that we have talk rooms where we're actually going to have people. So you can see we have chairs here. So you can be seated here. So Abubakar can be seated here. Martin Egwa can be seated here, and they can be talking to themselves here. Then Abiodun can be seated here, and another person can also be seated at another far end of this world. And what these two persons are saying to each other, the people here will not be hearing what they are saying. So it's really very interesting. Once you just navigate your way around it and just try to explore it, you are really going to enjoy it. And the good thing is that this platform is it has a free plan that you can use to bring more life. So you want to speak to someone rather than using your normal call, or you want to have a meeting, is you can see we have breakout rooms. So which of all these rooms will apply to us? You can see we even have boot rooms, we have game rooms. So if you are tired, you want to play a game, and there are actually games in the game room that you can play. So I'll be selecting the game room, I'll be adding it the game room. So you can see where the game room is located. You can see the moment I added it, we had our game room here. You can move it as well. So let me see another one that applies to a lounge. So let's say you are tired of the meeting, you want to go to the lounge and do some stuff, whatever they do at the lounge. You can, let's add it. We have our lounge over there. Breakout rooms, let's add a breakout room as well. Talk rooms, and I think those four are fine. So you can see the game room, it has been moved over here. So this is, I want to take this out. Okay, so let's finish adding rooms. So now the name of the event, let me call the event training. Oh, I said training. transformation college, transformation college. Let me just call it transformation college. The event starts, I want it to start right now. 1:50 is fine. GMT plus 1. So that's 3 minutes in the past, which is fine. Okay, let me make it okay, 1:50 is fine. And it will end at 2:50. Let's work with this. So let me create the event. 10:19. Yeah, this makes sense. So we are going to get a link. So it is creating it right now. And I'll be sharing the link, and I want all of us to join this meeting. So let me call myself Ayo. So I want to join the meeting now. Yeah, so I've joined the meeting. So now let me try to invite people via link. Copy link invite. Then I will share the invite to the chat box. Let me go to the chat box now. I don't know. My computer is just, anytime I'm sharing my screen. Okay, let me go to the chat box. Okay. So I've added the link now. So what you need to do is join the meeting so that we can see what we can do using this platform in the virtual world. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a virtual world, and this platform is a virtual reality platform. So the investment that you are going to see in the metaverse. What's Meta? That's Meta Incorporated, the owners of Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. What they are doing is that for everything that human beings are doing, they are creating a corresponding virtual world. And they invested billions of dollars into it. So you speak about an hospital, you want to go to an hospital, there is a virtual hospital that you can also attend. You want to go to where do people go to? You want to go to in a night club. There's a virtual night club you can go to. You want to go to a place of worship, there is a virtual church you can go to. You want to do anything, and that's what they are basically doing. I can see someone moving around. That's Rachel. That's good. I can see that you are enjoying the virtual world. Yeah, I can see someone again moving around. Yeah, so there's so much that you can actually do. There are so many things you can do here, but because of our time, what I will do is that I will give you a list to virtual reality platforms that you can explore, and you will see so many things that you can work with. So there are headsets, there are virtual reality enabled headsets that you can use, that like when you are talking with someone that is close to you, another person far will not be able to hear, and things around that. Okay, so that's just what I want to do for the practical aspect for virtual reality, and I will also be sending you a document around that. So let's go to Internet of Things. So I am closing this now. So now Internet of Things, IoT. Yeah, so IoT. So when we talk about IoT, so we are basically, what should come to you is devices that can communicate with each other. And I have a practical that I'll be showing you. Let me get the link as well. So before I even show you the practical, let me just speak around IoT, just for you to actually know that IoT is closer to you than you expect. Let me paint some scenario. And I have some classic use cases here that I'll be sharing before we actually do the practical. So let's say you are you visited a bank or you visited a major complex. As you are going towards the door opens on its own because there's a sensor that detected that you were coming close to it, and the moment you passed, the door closed back on its own. Then let's say you have that is one scenario. Let's say you have I'm thinking about scenarios that you will be very, very familiar with. So let's say you have you are in an office, you have a device that takes the temperature of the environment. So let's have a look at this. I put together some classic IoT, major IoT use cases that you can look through. So we can see its application in engineering, industry, and infrastructure. We can see its application in government and security. We can see its application in home and office, as well as health and medicine. So let's say you have a thermometer that takes the temperature for your room, and you can be in, if you have an IoT hub that you've already set up and you've configured to an endpoint, you can know the temperature of your room when even if you are far away in another country. And this is applied in data centers. Please mute yourself. Someone is not muted and I can hear myself. And this is applied in data centers. So you are working in an IT firm and there's a data center where you have so many servers, and all those servers, there are SLAs, there are temperatures that there are threshold that the temperature should not exceed or go lower than. So how do they know? So there is a smart device, there's a sensor that takes the temperature of the data center and it sends that data to an IoT hub, and that IoT hub has like a visualization that tells you the temperature, and the admin will be aware if there's a need to increase the air condition or reduce the air condition. Okay, so that's just some very, very basic application of how IoT can be applied. But these are some real world applications across some major fields. So you can see health and medicine. Joan is a nurse in an emergency room. A call has come in, a man was wounded, the system recognized the temperature and pulls his record, blah, blah, blah. These are IoT devices, but I am not even going here. Where I really want us to go to is at the requirements before you can set up an IoT demo. So, I've been speaking about sensors. That is one. There are some devices, there are some specialized IoT devices. There are some specialized IoT devices that you can use to send a signal, that you can send a signal to them. So, and even our smart TVs and our a couple of devices around us also have IoT capabilities. However, there are limitations to how we can use them, but that is by the way. I don't like to talk too much, so let me just go straight to our demo, our IoT demo, and we would see, we'll get some clarity around some of these. So in case I also forget, I also have an application. I have a program that can send sensor that can send a signal to an IoT device. I have a C++ program. So if any of you is familiar with it or you want to explore more around IoT, you can look at that later on. I won't be showing that here because of our audience. So let me just go straight to the platform I'll be using for IoT. I have a lot, but I think let me just use I have about 10, yeah. Let me use TeamSpeak. Let me use TeamSpeak. Uh, yeah, so let me go to my channels. I already have one channel, but I'll try to create another one. For this class, I created one very quickly. This is a private channel. So some of these things might not be very clear to you. Let me be honest with you. Because IoT, as I said earlier on, it only became global. It has always been around, but not for everyone. But it only became really, really global a couple of decades ago, and it's evolving. So you must spend time with it a lot before you really, really have a full grasp around it. And if you are familiar with Azure, Azure even have an IoT hub also that you can use to do a lot of customization around IoT as well. So the first thing we need to do for this platform is to create a channel. So I already created one. Creating a channel is very straightforward. You give it a name, you give it a description, then you can add fields. Your field can be um the um the devices that you are using. So you can have something like a thermometer, a digital thermometer as a field. You can have stuff around that as fields. Then if you have a link to a GitHub page that you are using to send the sensor, you can attach that to this. You can add an metadata, a location, and so much information there. And you just click on create. I already have one. I don't want to create another one. I created this just yesterday, just today, if I'm not mistaken, just before this class, a couple of hours ago. So I will open this. Where I am really going to is that this is the visualization, and if I should go over to the API keys, and this is my API key. If I should go over to the URL, if I should copy this URL is what my application is communicating with. So you know that earlier on I said that I have a C++ application. So there are some devices that allow you to write to them. So an example of such is MSP22. I think it's so there's a concept people call processor. It's a multi-processor and it has an entire system within it. So this particular URL is what my code, and that multi-processor allows you to communicate with the processor. So once I write the code and I send requests to this URL, but because I do not have that device over here, I will be sending a manual request, and I want you to observe the visualization. So let me go to my private view. I want you to observe this visualization, and you are going to see a spike around it. So this is what the IoT will really be doing. So let me modify this to like 200. We are going to see the spike in the visualization very soon. I'm just trying to send traffic, and you can see it. You can see the spike now. So I am assuming that the temperature is changing, and these values are being sent per second or per minute, depends on what I would write in my C++ code and things around that. So basically, they are specialized IoT devices. Let us just read about the ESP32. Let's read about them. Let's just see what Wikipedia says about them. So they are really they are like computers, but on a single chip. So they are controllers. So that's my program that I will be giving you, my C++ program. I will be uploading it to this microcontroller, and that's my controller. That my program will contain links to this URL that we have here, and also the API key for this TeamSpeak and the name of the channel and things around that. So it is now that so once that program is uploaded and the thermometer is attached to it, and there's a change in temperature, and the program will be running after every 5 seconds, it will be able to send those traffic to this. So if I am in, let's say, in the UK or in the US, I can see different visualizations, different charts about what is happening in my house, or in the data center, or in my office, wherever I am capturing that data. So this might not be clear, as I said earlier on, but I can also add more visualizations to it. You can add more visualizations as well. But I will be sending you the list of IoT platforms that you can work with. And if you like cloud, you can always work with Azure IoT Hub. I will also be sending you a program, a C++ program, a generic program that links your ThinkSpeak. The program is actually for this platform, with an IoT microcontroller, as well as any other device that is IoT, that is a smart device that is IoT enabled. Then before I end this IoT, I just want to allow you see a search engine for IoT very quickly. Shodan. Yeah, this is a search engine for IoT. Let's enter, let's see, what can I check for? Let's see Lagos. Let's see what it will give us. Does it give us anything for Lagos? Let's see. You can see Shodan is the world first. You can see 1,284 results. So it has detected all these devices, all these IoT devices that are available on the network. And the reason why I am opening this is that, you know, that I said that if I am in the UK, I can, or if I'm in the US, I can monitor IoT devices that I have configured in my office in Nigeria or in any other place. So it opens up their security implications around that. That is where this showdown comes in. So this showdown will tell you organizations that are making use of IoT devices, and probably they are not following best practice or something. So there's also another place called Lagos in Portugal. So that's probably why we are seeing some of this, but we can see Lagos in Nigeria. I believe there's somewhere called Lagos in Portugal. Let's see. Yeah, there's a place called Lagos in Portugal. So you can see we have Lagos in Portugal. but I am more interested in the one in Nigeria. So you can see there's an Huawei device, and you can see some information around that. You can even use this to even view webcam of persons that are not following right practice, because your webcam, your computer can be used as an IoT hub. So that is that. So you can see the ones that are forbidden, it makes sense because that means there are some security controls around it. But the ones that are open, there is an issue around that. Okay. So let's see this. Okay, so we can see some information around this. So you can explore shoulder now. It would you can use it to do some kind of security testing and blah blah blah. Okay, so
Hello,
any
Ayo.
question? Yes, please.
Sorry. Hello, Ayo. Okay, sorry, we got disconnected by the network. Kindly make me a host because currently you're the host. Kindly make me a host so we can have control of the class. Thank you.
Okay. That's who did you say I should make the host?
Myself, Edith.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. You can continue
Yeah.
with the class. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, that is the summary of just some practical session just to water your appetite. I will send you some more information and some document that contains how you can work with some of these platforms. At the end of this class, I'll send it to Precious and she will pass it across. IoT. So what I will be sending you, number one, I will send you commands for operating system, especially for Linux. I also wanted to even do some run some demo in the Windows environment, but most of us are familiar with Windows, so I think that is I will just send you materials around that and we'll be able to work with that. Then for virtual reality, I will send you a material that contains platforms and what you can use them for, platforms that you will not need to pay, and what you can use them for when it comes to virtual reality. Then for IoT, I will also send you platforms, what you can use them for, and I will also send you the C++ application that does the magic when it comes to IoT as well. So I will do all that and I think we are good to go. Yeah, thank you very much. I used extra 17 minutes. Yeah, Miss Precious.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking us through this. I know if we had more time, we would have probably covered more. But thank you. All right, so let's go back to our training material. Let me just share my screen.
Hello, Precious. Are you still there?
Yes, I am. I'll share my screen right away.
Okay.
So while she is doing that, please let's appreciate Ayo for his time. Let's put a round of applause to appreciate him for his time with us in class. I believe his session was very informative, and we've all learned a lot from this 1 hour plus. Right. So let's appreciate him with a round of applause. Thank you so much, Ayo, for sharing your time with us in class today. We really appreciate. All right. Precious, you can go ahead, please.
All right, thank you. Kindly confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we
Yes,
can
I
see your
can.
screen.
All right. So based off of some of the knowledge I has passed across, I'm sure we are kind of familiar with some aspects of the operating system. So just rush through some theoretical aspects of it before we close for the day. So an operating system basically, serves as like the brain of the computer system. We send commands, it executes those commands, interacts with hardware applications as well to ensure that users have a smooth, experience. So it gives an interface with the computer so you can send commands and receive feedback. Okay, I want to open a document is the operating system that ensures that you're able to access your Word document and open. So you want to access Microsoft application and open a Word document. All of those things are made possible via the operating system. Hardware is useless without software, right? So basically, that's what gives life to our hardware components of our computer system. So once the OS has organized these basic resources, user can give the computer instruction through input devices such as keyboard and mouse that we discussed earlier. Those commands are built into the OS, and after the OS interprets this command. Computers communicate using zeros and ones. It's not reading English. Everything is interpreted mathematically using zeros and ones. That's the only language the operating system understands, and it returns those responses in zeros and ones as well. Then our applications convert them into readable format for the users. So, what aspects of our CPU, of our computer system, do the OS interact with? We have our processor, we've discussed our processor, we have devices, we have memory, input, output, and we also have our hard disk. So what's an application? An application is a piece of software used to accomplish a particular task. So we have different applications on our mobile devices. We have Microsoft, it's an application. You have Chrome, it's an application. You have maybe Outlook for emails. All of those are examples of applications. So basically, we have a combination of different applications that we use to carry out different capabilities within our computer system. So each application is specifically configured for the OS on which it will run. So there are some applications depending on our OS configuration. There are some applications or OS, capacity or features or functionalities. There are some OS that can't run on that there are some applications that can't run on that OS, because that's when you hear this application is not compatible. Maybe they'll say you need to install a higher version of this OS or something like that. Like I mentioned, examples including Microsoft Word, Chrome, all of them, they are software applications that we use to do different things. Chrome for browsing, Microsoft Word for, creating, editing Word documents. We also have drivers. Drivers are, aspects of our computer system that help us to achieve certain, so like your graphic card has a driver. So sometimes the driver can be faulty or outdated. It can lead to problems within the computer. It might not return the accurate response you're looking for. It can be a printer. Maybe when you want to print, there's a particular driver that works with anything that relates to printing. Network, there's a particular driver that works with it. sound, there's a driver, everything. There's drivers that work with them. There's a way you can search for the list of drivers on your computer system. We should look at that later. So this is a brief history of operating systems, right? So before now, it's not like now that we can even be moving around with slick laptops. Before, when the initial creation of operating systems, it used to be very huge. The first one was ENIAC, Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. To even just calculate something as 2 plus 2, the amount of stress it's going to take and the time it takes, you will not even believe it. But that was how they improved on this operating system before we have something like what we're using now. It was huge, very huge. It's made up of 11 vacuum tubes, 18,000 vacuum tubes, 70,000 resistors, 10,000 capacitors, 8 feet tall. I don't even think any of us here is up to 8 feet tall. 3 feet thick, 100 feet long, weighing an impressive 27 tons. Can you imagine that? It consumed a lot of power. Anytime they turned it on, the whole of Philadelphia, their own power supply goes down just because they are running one single operating system. That's crazy. Thank God for innovation. So early days, group of IBM engineers put their heads together, just like how a few of us here can put our heads together and create our own operating system, right? It's not a far-fetched um it's not something that is too far-fetched. It can happen, right? You can come together, look at what has been developed in the past, build something better, or even start from scratch. But what's this of starting from scratch when there's already basic things in place? So you just need to improve on it, right? So we can leave the history of operating system, but I think you should read it on your own during your own time because it's actually very interesting. Even though we are here now, it took a process to get here. So key terms to note when we're discussing operating systems, we have the kernel is a central part of the operating system, controls all actions of the operating system. It's just like the computer has a motherboard now. The operating system's kind of motherboard is kernel. So it controls all actions of the OS, including input and output, which the processes get to use the CPU, which enables processes to use CPU and memory, and also translating between hardware and software components in the computer. Like I said earlier, the only way the hardware and software components can communicate and understand their protocols, their things that you need to put in place to ensure they can communicate because they are not exactly speaking the same language. I imputed, help me do this. The software might not understand that it needs to be converted to something that the software can understand. So there are different versions of the OS. You see, we have up before we got to Windows, that version for any OS you're using for software work. So it's
Hello, Precious, are you there? Please be patient. Let's get her on the call again. Thank you.
hello. Sorry, I heard this meeting is being recorded, so I figured it has tripped me off. I don't understand. It wasn't tripping. Why is it tripping me off? The manufacturer can tweak, so it's a crime to actually go and tweak software that doesn't belong to you. It's actually illegal. So we have the shell, a program that runs on top of the OS and allows the user to issue commands through a set of menus or interface. it might be a interface. So that's something that interpret OS so that it can be it can. Then we have our graphical user interface, which is the method which a person communicates with a computer in your
Hello,
screen, your
Precious.
Windows search button, all of. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we're not seeing your screen all along. It just came up.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen.
It's just
I'm
came up.
sharing. All right, thank you. All right, so we're still on the same slide anyway. So graphical user interface, when you see your icons, your Windows search button, where you have your start button, where you have your temperature, your notifications, all of these things are part of the graphical user interface. So when you hear something and they say that OS is not user friendly, so that's one of the things people complain about the Linux OS because is a bit technical, so it's not very user friendly, unlike Windows that you can just navigate very easily. So that's what stands out a user-friendly system to one that's not user-friendly is a graphical user interface. So when you see all those UI UX people, that's what they do. They interpret all these things to make sure that users can actually access what they need to access. It's not like because I want to check time, I have to open one thing, check one thing. No, it's accessible. It's just on my taskbar. All of these are key. Computers can run multiple at one at a time. So they have, if you check your task bar, you can see a list of concurrent, like running applications that are running at the same time. But technically, they are just switching into it. Has the way it prioritizes the one that is mostly important, maybe based on first come, first serve, or based on prioritization, and it moves back and forth between those programs and send back. So you might be doing something and think it sends back immediately. That's is you, you're the only thing it's attending to. No, it moves back and forth between those programs to the extent that you won't even notice that that's what's happening at the back end. So we have preemptive multitasking where the OS allows each application a certain amount of processor time and then forcibly takes back control and give another application or task access to the processor. Personally, I prefer cooperative multitasking because at the end of the day, your request for a certain application at a time might be different from what you need for it tomorrow. So if it has pre allocated some resources, it might lead to waste because at the end of the day, I might not be using those things. So why not give it to something that is important to me right now? So if an application crashes, the OS takes control of the processor and locked from lock application and passes it on to the next application. We also have multi-threading, the ability of a single application to have multiple requests to the processor at one time. So the result is faster application performance because it allows programs to do many things at a time. So we have different types of operating systems. You have the 32-bit, the 64-bit. I think they are facing the 32-bit is rare. Most of our systems now they are 64-bit, right? So 32-bit is a bit limited. The processor speed is low, but 64-bit is better. There are some applications that 32 bits cannot even run. It has to be 64 bits. A lot of applications, by the way, maybe except the old versions of those applications. So, what are some key functions of an operating system? It interfaces between users and hardware and coordinating between hardware components. So, we have different hardware components, the RAM, the motherboard, all of these things are hardware components. So, unless if everybody is going in different direction, we will not achieve the aim of actually create that and coordinate interaction between hardwares and also between the hardware and users as well. It provisions an environment for software to function. You cannot The software cannot function on its own. It's not all encompassing. It has to work hand in hand with the OS to be able to deliver response. It creates a structure for data management. It has files that store all the relevant data you use from time to time so that when you request for this data, they are readily available. It also monitors system health and functionality. Sometimes you can just see a pop-up. There's a virus or you need to scan your system. All of those things are functionalities of the OS, or maybe your computer is overheating. So it has different components that monitor all of those things and send out responses. Still talking about functions of the operating system, connecting users it provides an environment for software to interface with which to work. So without an even computer, it won't even work. It's just operating system. It's just make sure that software you're using is compatible with the operating system in your computer system and you will not have any problem. So if an app works on Windows 11, it will almost certainly work on Windows 10 because Windows 11 is the more recent version. So obviously whatever is in Windows 10 is most likely in Windows 11 or better. But whatever is in Windows 11 might not be in Windows 10 because it was the still work for 11 even though it it is claimed to be like a bit compatible with that. They specifically use those type of applications. You have to get that it if you don't want to change your laptop's operating system, so you can use it. And when you're done, you can just switch it off. When you need it again, you can turn it on. That's the beauty of virtualization. It provides but because of the way the OS is set up, the way there's a file management system in place, it knows okay, this date I stored this, and this. So you can easily query and say, okay, send me data from
Hello, Precious, are you there? We lost her again.
all right, can you hear me now? I heard this meeting is being recorded. Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you
All right,
clearly.
can you see my screen as well?
Yes, it's visible to me.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So sometimes when hackers hack into your system, one of the things they try to steal is maybe your memory of maybe your starting your processing power. Maybe they're using it to do some fraudulent like activities. So you might not be aware that the program is running in the background of your system and your system can be hot and you're just wondering what's even going on. But it's the work of the OS to alert that maybe this laptop, this needs or more power than regular, so it can then all of this monitoring and performance is the job of the OS. So they have different tools to monitor system health depending on the type of system you're using and the type of OS that runs on that system. So for most Windows OS, performance monitor is what they use to that's what the OS use to monitor performance of the system. So we have different types of operating system. You know, like we mentioned earlier when we were talking about servers and workstations and laptops, we said one key distinct difference between the server and the workstation is its operating system. So there are some operating systems that you can install on servers, but you cannot install on maybe normal laptops or some workstation. And there's some operating system you can even install on a workstation, but you can't install on a laptop. So there are different types of operating systems. So we have desktop or workstation operating systems. These ones are usually powerful operating systems that can handle multiple requests at a time that some of our servers and workstation get. So they are designed to let users perform tasks on a single machine. That's for workstation, but servers that are designed to receive multiple requests at a time. So the servers that are applicable to server operating system, they include Linux. That's just one of the things that iOS showed us. That's one good operating system. That's Linux server is a good operating system for servers. You have the Mac OS, you have Windows, but all of these things, it's not just Windows operating system. They all have different versions and different types. So you have to choose a specific one that align to servers. All right. So we have server operating system. Servers are in the business of providing resources, obviously, to clients on a network or workstations on a network. Anybody that asks, the job of the server is to return what they asked for. So workstations might need servers for security validation. Maybe you want to you want to authenticate the user. You want to check, okay, based on the data that is stored on this server, is this person the person that's supposed to um access this data? All of those things. The server might return, oh, access granted or access denied or identity not verified, all of those things. So it also, they need servers to control accessing files, print capabilities. Servers operating system achieve many of these tasks by managing software modules called services. So we have different types of operating system. We have the Linux based ones, the Mac based one, and the Windows based one. And some of these Linux based ones are tweaked towards servers, while others are maybe tweaked towards laptops. Mac as well has the one for servers and the ones for laptops or workstations. Windows as well has one for for servers, and it will be Windows Server, like. But then we are using Windows 11 for our normal PCs. Over the years, Microsoft has made improvements to its technology. Now, Windows-based servers enjoy somewhere around 80 to 90% market share. That means there's an increase in demand for Windows-based servers. I think Windows-based servers are one of the popular when you look at or Linux. I don't know. I think Windows has more demand in the market when it comes to OS than Mac and Windows has more demand than Mac and Linux. It's easy for administrators to use Windows Server product because most of them are familiar, because they've hacked the market. There's a lot of decent people that are using it. So to prevent integration issues or non-compatibility issues, they just stick to Windows Server because they already have those OS running on some of their systems. There's no need to come and starting another Linux one that maybe when they install it is not now going to be compatible with what they have. So new versions come out every 4 to 5 years. That's for sure. We can see when we go to the next one, we see the list of different Windows operating system, where they started from and where they are now. So operating systems interface between the user, applications, and the hardware. There are three. So that's the three parts that make up the computer system. You have the user that is trying to use it to access resources to carry out certain things, via programs or applications. Then you have your applications, and then the hardware itself, which is our screen, our keyboard, our motherboard, our RAM, our ROM, and all of that. So some of the things that an operating system needs to manage: user accounts. Sometimes when you turn on your laptop, you see login. So every user will have his own unique login. That's if you have multiple users on the same laptop. Access control, okay. Authentication, are you the right person? So when you want to log into that user account, put in your password or your email and password, the OS will still manage to see, okay, yes, this is the person or this is a wrong password. Applications, processes, services, devices, disk space, memory. The OS is the one that allocates memory to different applications depending on the type of memory application style they're using. You remember we discussed that if it is um, doing everything concurrently at the same time, or it allocates special memory to each application, and if that until that application is done with that thing, that's when it will reassign it depending on what style the OS is using. That's what you use to manage memory. You have, it also manages files, folders, and permission. So user account management, like I mentioned earlier, if you have multiple users, to prevent, if there's nobody managing them, separating what they, maybe you are doing something else on this other user account, or you set a team for this user account, you use the other one for another team. The OS is the one that makes sure they are not lumped up together and they are segregated. So you have to identify yourself by your user account and adjust the system and user environment settings appropriately. Can you imagine if you have two user accounts and you want to log in your Chrome? Let's say you want to restore some of your closed browse closed, or restore some of your history that you browse, then you're seeing the one of the other user. So is the OS that ensures that something like that does not happen. So there are different three levels of users within a system. So it's either you're the administrator or you're a standard user, which is just usually called user, or you're a guest. So if somebody wants to borrow your laptop or something, instead of giving them access to all your confidential information or to tamper with some of your, settings, you just create a guest user account for them. When they are done, you can delete it when you no longer use it. For Mac, it is just to, I think, standard and administrative. Okay, standard and administrator, that's the two user accounts you have for Mac. Then for Linux, you have administrator, basic user, guest, or unprivileged account, just like Windows. So here we can already see this user. The person has administrator access. The name of the user is Quentin Docker. So when you have administrative access, there's no limit to what you can do on that system. You can do and undo. You can create accounts. You can delete. You can assign. You can do all of that. But when you don't have administrative access, what you can do on that system is kind of limited. This is the Mac OS, and this is how it looks on Ubuntu or Linux systems. So access control management. So the idea behind access control is that only administrators or authorized users can make changes to the system. It's a security concern when anybody can make any change. That means somebody can come and install any software to be even stealing the data, or anybody can come and delete or something like that. So it's very important that access control is on 100. There's no room for even a tiny bit of mistakes when it comes to access control, because that small loophole can lead to a catastrophic outcome. So the idea behind access control is like only authorized administrators and users can make changes to the system. Changes such as security settings, maybe you want to disable a monitoring app, or you want to disable a data loss prevention tool. All of those things are, if it's only somebody that has administrative access that can do all of those things. And it's very important that you protect that administrative access. You want to make sure it is not breached, because once anybody breaches your administrative access, they can have full control of your computer system and its operating system. So Microsoft implements Windows Access Control using user account control. All programs or new tasks that are run if the user is using a standard account, settings can be adjusted, although Microsoft do not recommend. They usually say just leave it the default thing they've arranged there. But if you know what you're doing, you can obviously make changes. There's also application management. If you want to see this, you can just go to program and features on your system. You can see all the applications that have been installed. I think Ayo did something around that. He went, I think he pressed is it Windows R on that. After he pressed it and he looked for his programs, and it took him straight to all the applications that are installed on that system. So if you want to do your periodic checking to see if you have any malicious or something you don't recognize, sometimes just like when you're trying to send something on Zenda, let's say you are just sending pictures and you will see that automatically they might have added an adware to the pictures you're sending, or they'll just add one random application or a loan app or something that you didn't even request for. Some of those things mistakenly can get into your mobile device. So it's very important that you do your inventory and I don't know this application, what is it? If it's, but don't go and delete something you see there just because you're not familiar with it. Though Google it first, because some are default programs that are needed to do certain functionalities within your system. So it's better you are very careful when you're tampering with programs that you're seeing running on your system. So to uninstall, change or repair and install the application properly, you use the programs and feature app in the control panel. Also processes, everything, every single thing you are doing on your system is a process. Are you trying to change time is a process? Are you trying to open if it's a process? So nearly every program running on a computer is run as a process, background tasks, everything. So there's a part of your system you can also see all the processes running on your system, even to the tiniest bit. So it make the reason why it's done this way is to make it easy to control who or what has access to various system resources at a very granular level. So you don't want to lump up all your processes and one application is entering where it's not supposed to enter, the other one is going there, and at the end of the day, you breach the security of some of your data, and then even that means if it even crashes, if they are not separated, many processes will crash at the same time. So if the process was to run as a single process, any little bit of hanging will cause the entire system to fail. But with granular process, if one part fail, that's the only part that is failing because they've been adequately segregated. So Windows Service Management. So Windows extends functionalities by using services. Even when you go to your tax manager on your system, you see all the services that are running. So a service is a software package that provides additional features. For example, printing requests, you can use a service called Print Puller. When you go to the list, when you go to your tax manager, you see the list of services that are installed on your system. So the easiest way to see it is on your tax manager. Will be looking at the tax manager of my own system once we're done with this part. So Windows refer to all hardware installed on its computer as devices. There are a few different ways that you can manage device settings. So when you go to your, there are different hardware. Even the Bluetooth is installed on this our system. So if you want to make changes to some of your hardware, you can go to the Windows setting, click on the particular one, Bluetooth and device. You want, for some people it may not show as Bluetooth and device. For some people it's just devices. So if you want to add a device, you want to delete, you want to do this, you want to do that, you can do that via the device under the Windows setting by going to the aspect that talks to devices. Also, disk space management, something like what I was doing, where he allocated different space of his RAM to the different things is running on that virtual machine. So this one, the operating system does it. So it has a reliable long-term storage of data to make sure that every the space, there's no wastage or there's no misuse or there's no, it makes sure that if this system, if this application needs this amount of this space, okay, we'll allocate it to this one. If this one needs this, we'll allocate it, and it manages it, right? So it doesn't care if it has there are different types of hard drive, HDD or SDD. It can manage any one of them. Even when you add external, memory to your system, it will still show in the disk management side. So you can see how many space how many percentage you've used and what is left, so that you can know, my system is going to become full very soon. And when a system is full, it starts to malfunction. So it's very important to declutter your disk from time to time. Managing folders and file structure, that's another key function of the operating system. So there are different ways. It's just like when you open your this place that say this PC, you open it, you see downloads, you see documents, you see, so you can see the different files that all this information are automatically stored. So anytime you download something from the internet, you don't even need to set it, it automatically goes to the download folder. When you transfer music, it automatically goes to the music folder. When you All those things are functionalities of the OS. So the first step is to create what's called a partition for storage. So that's one of the job of the operating system. But you can also partition your disk or your hard drive by yourself. So disk space and file access. File systems organize the directories, all those folders, they're the same thing as directories, and keep track of their logical structure. So automatically the OS knows that that thing you downloaded yesterday is in the download. So sometimes you might be looking for something and then you search the whole of your PC, there's a place on the computer that says this PC, and you click search, and maybe you write transformation college manual, and then it will search for over a time and return that manual. But then you might want to know where exactly you brought this manual from. Then you can, you know, let's click or right click and say, okay, show me the file path. Then you see, oh, it's in downloads under Transformation College under training folder, and you see the exact location of that file. So some file systems have limitations when it comes to naming conventions. There are some there are some things that you might not be able to name your folder. There are some symbols it doesn't accept and all of that. So you should be familiar. It's case sensitive, and sometimes it doesn't matter. But for some OS like Windows, there are some symbols you can use when you're trying to name your files. File metadata and attributes. So for each file on your system, you can see further information like when it was the first time it was created, when it was saved, is it read only, all of those things. Just when you right click, you just click on properties, the amount of space is taken up on your system, all of those things you can see them just with a single click. So most file systems have built-in security. So once you click a folder, you will see a part that speaks to security. Maybe you want to only give access to a certain part of that folder to a group of people. All of those things are very, very much things you can do from your end. It's not even you don't even need a, an angel to do that. You can easily do it from your system. So they already have built-in security measures that enable you to give permissions to those that you want to give. But that's only if you have administrative access. So when a change is made to a file, the file system has two ways of managing it. One is to write the change directly to the drive and be done with it. The second is journaling. So you want to make sure you capture, the OS captures all the changes that have been made to that file. Maybe it will have a certain retention period. After that retention period, maybe it will delete those information because obviously you cannot be using space for something that might not be necessary. But if you want to have access to some of the things that have been done to that or restore former versions of that file, journaling makes that very sometimes you might be doing something, you have not even saved the windows, and then your laptop goes off, and then you will see once you turn it on, you'll be seeing to save the last automatically saved version. All of those things is as a result of journaling. So we have different types of file systems, file allocation table. It comes with the Windows OS. These are the drawbacks or advantages. So when you want to manipulate files within your OS, you open, edit, move. That's common things that we do. Copy and paste, cut, delete, rename. All of those things are what you can do when you are manipulating files within your operating system. Okay, let's quickly look at my taskbar to see the processes that are running and all of that. Kindly confirm that you can see my screen. So for me, you can see that I've used like 89% of my memory. Basically, what I did, I just searched task manager in the can we all hear me though?
Yeah,
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
ma'am, we
you.
can hear you.
we
Okay.
can.
All right. So this is the task manager. All I did was check press Windows and search for task manager. So there's no need to go any long way or anything. That's one of the easiest ways to access it. You can see that I have 5 applications currently running: Google, Microsoft Edge, PowerPoint, Task Manager, and Windows Explorer. So under my Google, maybe I have 16 tabs and all of that. So if you want to just, you can even tamper with them. Maybe you want to close, you want to end it. Maybe you discover it's consuming too much memory. You can just click on end task. But like I mentioned earlier, anytime you notice something that you're not really familiar with, don't just go and do gargar and just end the task, it can affect something on your system. Make sure if you don't even know the thing, you can just simply copy it and go and paste it on Google and read about, okay, what does this program do? So these ones are background processes running. Obviously, just imagine I come and click on close all. It's only God that know what will happen to my system today. But so these are the background processes 64. I'm sure there are a lot of things I need to look into to even reduce so that they don't keep on consuming my battery or my internet and all of that. Then Windows processes, we talked about processes, we have 99. I can shut down some of these processes if I want to, if I feel like it's consuming too much of my space. Then we have here, we have services. The services we talked about earlier. Let's see the number of services. There's no total number, but it's a lot. We said everything you do on the operating system is categorized as a process. But this one now, their services, I'm using them to do different things, from Bluetooth to printing to all of that. If you can even see the name, they might not be exactly explanatory, but you can see some see sensors, familiar words that we've discussed there. So if I want to look at details, so basically, if you want to see what is going on in terms of tasks within your OS, you want to see how they are allocating your memory space, you want to see what is consuming what is currently running. You can just come to your task manager, just search it after you've clicked on Windows, and it will bring you straight to your task manager. How many users? If I had multiple users, you just see that it will not just be my name here, there'll be other names as well. So I can easily check what that particular user is taking away from my OS so that I'll know if I should delete them or any of that. So these are my applications. I have the list here. Startup applications, the ones that come up anytime I turn up my system. So that's why if you want to know more about it, you can go to the task manager of your system and look at it. I think that's that for our training today. I hope you were able to gain value from this training. Sorry for the network challenges that we had. It was just for reasons beyond my control. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you. I think we've come to the
All
end of our
right.
class for today.
Thank you so much, Precious. Thank you. Please, everyone, before we appreciate her, do you have a question? Any question? Okay, if we do not have any question, please can we appreciate her? She has done a good work despite the network. Thank you so much, Precious. Please keep it coming. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you
Okay,
for
so
having me.
yes, thank you. All right, so a few announcements before we call it a day. All right. Okay, just a few announcements. I believe every one of us have filled the attendance form. Okay, so I just want to talk about that attendance. Whenever you see ID, student ID, for those of you who are not NID students, please, you can always put your name there. And for our NID students, check your ID cards. For those of you who have ID cards, put the number there. If you do not have an ID card, you can use your name as well. All right. Thank you for that. Then secondly, acceptance fee for all of our NID students is 10,000 naira. So you are not supposed to pay the 5,000 naira because you are an NID student, okay? But for everyone who registered as a CompTIA student, you are supposed to pay registration fee of 5,000 naira. I hope that is understood. Okay, and so for those of us in for those of us in Ghana and Cameroon who are finding it difficult to make your payment, please, that issue is going to be resolved by next week. So you have nothing to worry about. Also, if you are on the call today and you have not joined the WhatsApp group, exclusive for only the CompTIA participants, okay? For those of our NID students, you are already on a WhatsApp or in a WhatsApp platform, so you don't need to click the link to join, okay? So I'm going to still share the link for those who are yet to join the group. So the link is right here. You can click here to join the WhatsApp group. But if you're an NID student, you don't need to join the group. All information is going to be sent to your group. All right. Also bear in mind that you have, for the CompTIA student, you have until 25th October to make your registration fee, after which the registration is going to be closed. Okay, so please do well to make or pay your acceptance fee and your registration fee. And once you do that, send it to the designated email and it will be attended to accordingly. All right, for Nigerians, it is 5,000 naira. For Ghanaians, it's 53 Ghana cedis. And for Cameroonians, it is 2,000 Central African franc. Okay, I believe we all get the announcement. Please follow us on all of our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mention us, comment, like our post. We really need your engagement. Okay, I think. Okay, attendance link. Give me a moment to do that. Okay, so the attendance form is on the group, is on the chat bot rather. You can fill up the attendance fee. And for our NID students, please take your studies very seriously. We are going to be announcing your test officially. So please keep an eye on your WhatsApp platforms to get every necessary information. Thank you so much. That will be all for now. My name is Mercy Isong, and do have a very beautiful weekend. See you again next week.
Hello, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Really appreciate.
Thank you.
Madam, please, do you offer postgraduate diploma?
Postgraduate diploma. For now, it is only National Innovation Diploma programs that we do.
Okay.
Yes. I hope
Thank you
that
very much.
answers your question. All right. You're
Absolutely,
welcome.
ma. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So feel free to tell your loved ones about this. It's 100% tuition-free education. So make noise about it. Thank you so much and do have a very beautiful weekend. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend too.
Thank you very much for the class.